Chapter 878, Core Formation Relics, Attack on White Tiger Mountain. Thinking that he hadn't done much and that owning this cultivation technique was enough, he could at most pick a few spiritual materials from the storage ring. Having just returned to Azure Phoenix Immortal City, he could ask someone to craft a couple of suitable magic artifacts for him. Sure. Seeing this, Lu Changxing didn't insist and passed the storage ring to Li Feiyu, keeping the black halberd for himself. Although this was a low-grade magical treasure, due to severe wear and hundreds of years of neglect without an owner's mana nourishing it, its spiritual light was dull and difficult to activate. It could be said that this no longer counted as a treasure, but merely as a rare material to be recast by someone. Changxing, how do you plan to take away the spiritual eye spring? Li Feiyu looked at Lu Changxing and said. Although the spiritual eye spring could be carried with oneself, Sar the novel, F. Iyer. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. To his knowledge, it required the great magical power of a nascent soul immortal to be relocated. Ordinary Foundation establishment cultivators simply couldn't take such a spring with them. Now I manage a family, so I have studied the skills and legacy of dragon seekers, and just so happen to understand some of this technique, Lu Changxing said with a laugh. Had it been before, it indeed would have been difficult for him to take away the spiritual eye spring. But for a second-order dragon seeker, it was effortless. Scram! Lu Changxing disdainfully said to the golden mouse in the center of the spiritual spring. Such a clear and clean spring, and you, a mouse, soaking in it, what are you thinking? Hearing this, the seeking spirit mouse reluctantly walked out of the spiritual spring and sat down on the side, looking somewhat aggrieved. Feiyu, back off a bit. Lu Changxing said to Li Feiyu. Okay. Li Feiyu quickly nodded and stepped back. But as he saw the corpse next to the spiritual spring, he immediately moved it aside. Then Lu Changxing's hands formed a gesture incantation, and his palms emanated dazzling yellow light, pressing onto the ground. Boom! Spiritual light surged, and the ground around the spring violently shook and cracked. Rise! Lu Changxing uttered softly, and the basin-sized spring suddenly broke through the earth and began to ascend. Once the spiritual eye spring was completely hovering in the air, Lu Changxing cast successive spells, causing the yellow light to envelop and seal the spring. Phew! Lu Changxing stored the spiritual eye spring in his storage ring, his eyes revealing a hint of joy. With this spring, the state of his own spiritual vein, or even Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven, could be improved once again. If luck is on my side, finding a few more spiritual eye springs, or even top-grade ones, upgrading to a third-order spirit vein will be a breeze, Lu Changxing couldn't help fantasizing. TSK, Changxing, you really are skillful, Li Feiyu said, watching the scene before him in admiration. He had learned some details about Lu Changxing during this time. He knew that his friend was a second-tier top-level talisman master, and a second-order inferior alchemist. Now seeing him also skilled in dragon-seeking techniques, he didn't even know what to say. He thought to himself that his good brother, despite a subpar spiritual root, had deep fortune and incredible comprehension. Even if he were to become a loose cultivator, he would fare exceedingly well. Afterward, he placed the corpse back into the deep pit of the spiritual spring. Predecessor, we want to inherit your legacy. These treasures, not brought in life, not taken in death, it's truly a pity to bury them with you. Today, as we lay you to rest, let these treasures serve as our compensation for burying your bones and erecting this monument. Li Feiyu said solemnly. He then buried the corpse and used his long sword to split a stone into a stele, carving the words Tomb of Jing Jueming onto it. Lu Changxing, seeing this, also stepped forward to bow his respects. After all, since he had benefited, it was only appropriate to give thanks. Everyone says how wonderful cultivation is, but who has seen corpses buried in the wilderness? A nascent soul immortal ending up in such a state, Li Feiyu said, filled with emotion. He had seen very few core formation individuals up to this point in his cultivation journey. This was the first time he had seen the remains of a nascent soul immortal, stirring deep emotions in his heart. That's why we should cherish the present, Lu Changxing said with a smile. Hee hee, I just can't stay idle, Li Feiyu replied with a wry smile, shaking his head. Besides, it's hard to give up when you're not content. This place still needs to be dealt with. Lu Changxing looked at the situation before him and furrowed his brow. Having made a path here, others could follow it if they came. After thinking for a moment, he put the seeking spirit mouse into his spiritual pet bag, cast an iron wall talisman to solidify the room into an iron barrier, then he and Li Feiyu left the cavern and attacked the cave with the giant sword technique. Boom boom boom, in an instant, the cave collapsed and was concealed, with both men transforming into escape light and swiftly leaving. Changxing, father, Uncle Li. As the two men left the mine, Lu Miaoge and Lu Chuanjun among others were still waiting outside. We inspected the situation inside, which caused some delay, but now we will head straight to White Tiger Mountain, Lu Changxing told his wife and children. Naturally, the children and others had no objections to this. Immediately, everyone boarded the spirit boat and set off directly for White Tiger Mountain. Sister Miaoge, we really had great luck this time. I found a spiritual spring inside. Lu Changxing shared his joy with Lu Miaoge through a secret message on the spirit boat. What? A spiritual spring? Lu Miaoge was even more surprised and delighted than Lu Changxing upon hearing this. That's right, although this spring is not as good as the one we obtained at home, it's still quite remarkable, and inside there was also the corpse of a nascent soul immortal, but this immortal was a demonic path cultivator who has been dead for several hundred to 1,000 years, and since he died after suffering serious injuries, he didn't have any precious treasures with him. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 879, Core Formation Relics, Attack on White Tiger Mountain. _4 Lu Changxing continued. This is already quite good, not only is there a spirit stone mine, but also such a harvest. Changxing, your fortune can be said to be incredibly profound, Lu Miaoge said softly. Her heart couldn't help but feel astonished and surprised. Her own husband truly was a favored person of the heavens. No wonder he possessed so many heavenly and earthly treasures, rare cultivation techniques, and spiritual pets. Such luck, it's like just stepping outside could lead to opportunities. Probably starting from the early years when he found the 9 Netherhound, every time he went out there were chances for remarkable encounters. White Tiger Mountain, Zhao family. At this moment, the Zhao family's great formation was fully activated, slowly revolving. All the family disciples were on high alert, with the posture of facing a formidable enemy. Although the Zhao family ancestor had invited someone from the Jinlong Ridge Jin family to act as a mediator and judge such matters, in any case, could enhance the cohesion of the family through this method. Why hasn't Lu Changxing arrived yet? Wasn't the message sent that Lu Changxing was heading towards our White Tiger Mountain? The Zhao family patriarch looked at the external situation, his eyebrows deeply furrowed, pacing back and forth with an anxious expression. He was not actually looking forward to Lu Changxing's quick arrival. Instead, having received the message that the opponent was coming to attack his family, and yet not arriving for a long time, his heart kept hanging, up and down. The Novel Fire. Enter website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. After all, with the reputation of the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family known far and wide, even though the ancestor had requested the Jinlong Ridge's intervention, he was still worried. They've come. Just then, the Zhao family patriarch saw 2 small spirit boats in the distance flying towards them, growing larger and larger as they approached. He immediately said to the Zhao family disciples who were on full alert, "Everyone, get ready." He then signaled to his own ancestor to indicate that Lu Changxing had come. Is this White Tiger Mountain? Lu Changxing, aboard the spirit boat, looked at White Tiger Mountain. The entire valley was enshrouded in a pale golden formation, making it impossible to see inside. But from a bird's eye view, it somewhat resembled a crouching fierce tiger. As far as Lu Changxing knew, White Tiger Mountain had abundant mine resources. In the early years, the Zhao family relied on the mineral resources of White Tiger Mountain and their artifact refining skills, reaching their peak period with as many as 5 foundation establishment cultivators, and once controlling 2 marketplaces. But due to various reasons, they did not progress further and began to decline. And because the mineral resources were non-renewable, over-extraction led to a decline in family profits, and the family's situation grew worse and worse. In recent decades, they still possessed 2 foundation-building great cultivators. But after the battle at Blackwater Pool, the Zhao family lost a foundation establishment ancestor, leaving only 1 foundation establishment cultivator, which could be said to be in the worst situation. But the spirit vein of White Tiger Mountain's Zhao family will definitely not be bad. Even if it's not second-order superior, it still belongs to the second-grade medium-quality top tier, and won't be worse than the initial Blue Lake Mountain. Lu Chongqing thought inwardly. Right now, he did not have any plans to establish a branch family on White Tiger Mountain. He planned to wait until his children made a breakthrough in foundation establishment before considering arrangements for White Tiger Mountain. But having acquired the dragon-seeking skill, he indeed wanted to try and intercept a spiritual vein origin from White Tiger Mountain. It wasn't long. The 2 spirit boats stopped at the mountain gate of White Tiger Mountain, suspended in the air. Lu Chongqing, in a green long robe, stepped off the spirit boat, stood on thin air, and a white magical sword appeared in his hand, striking at the pale golden great formation above White Tiger Mountain. Boom! The formation on White Tiger Mountain immediately surged with flashing spiritual light, with streaks of golden radiance flowing within, where faintly, a fierce tiger could be seen ferociously roaring. Second-order superior, fierce tiger encircling mountain great formation. Lu Mountain Lord, for you to transgress upon our Zhao family like this is simply too outrageous. Do you really think our White Tiger Mountain is weak and can be bullied? The Zhao family patriarch, in a purple brocade robe, rose up within the great formation, his arms sleeves tightly clenched, his expression both shocked and angry, and he shouted loudly. He did not expect Lu Chongqing to be so arrogant. To actually take action against their family great formation without a word. Simply not placing them, White Tiger Mountain, in his eyes. Too outrageous. Your White Tiger Mountain covets my Lu family mine veins and even conspired against Lu someone's daughter in secret, and you still have the face to speak of being too outrageous. If you're sensible, open the formation yourself, apologize and make amends. Lu someone might still spare your Zhao family once, otherwise, today will be the day your White Tiger Mountain falls. Lu Chongqing sneered coldly, said with an indifferent expression, and his hands did not stop moving, bombarding the White Tiger Mountain formation. Li Feiyu and the Lu family disciples, seeing this, also one after another brought out their magic artifacts to bombard White Tiger Mountain. Boom, 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 in an instant, the White Tiger Mountain Great Formation's spiritual light surged, flickering on and off. Lu Chongqing, don't fabricate lies to use as an excuse to forcibly take over my White Tiger Mountain. Just at this moment, a voice full of stamina and slightly aged rang out. A streak of escape light flew in from the depths. His hair grayed, his figure tall, in a purple magical robe, emanating an imposing aura, it was the Zhao family ancestor. However, seeing Lu Miaoge there as well, his pupils couldn't help but contract. Although many of them believed that the battle at Red Leaf Valley had been greatly exaggerated, but through some exposed memory stones, the records of the night's events, both of them indeed had the astonishing achievement of slaying several foundation-building great cultivators. Fabricate lies? Upon seeing the scene at the mine, Lu Chongqing guessed that the other party would not admit it. He sneered and said, as to how things really are, your Zhao family knows very well. Actions speak louder than words. Lu someone is too lazy to argue with you about it. Even if the Supreme Sect inquires, Lu someone will be justified and without a guilty conscience. If you now open your formation and offer White Tiger Mountain an apology, Lu someone might still spare you. If you stubbornly resist and insist on being an enemy of my Blue Lake Mountain, then Lu someone won't be polite. Lu Chongqing spoke, and with a pat of his storage bag, a fist-sized black bead appeared. This bead, known as the Forbidden Breaking Bead, was obtained by Ling Zixiao from Xiaohou money, with the effect of breaking formations and prohibitions. Then, from his sleeve, string after string of talismans flowed out, suspending around him. Lu Changsheng, how arrogant you are. Seeing these talismans, the Zhao family ancestor's face showed both fear and anger, wishing he could immediately activate the formation and engage with Lu Changsheng. Heh, Lu Mountain Lord, quite a temper you have, quite domineering indeed. Just then, another unhurried voice sounded. A middle-aged man around 40, with a square face, thick dark hair and beard, stern in appearance, dressed in a gold dragon-patterned magical robe, walked out with his hands behind his back, looking at Lu Changsheng and spoke indifferently. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 880, Husband and Wife Join Forces, Problem Solved. 8K Big Chapter, Upon seeing the golden-robed man, Li Feiyu, Lu Yun, Lu Chuanjun, and others all showed solemn expressions on their faces. At the Wu Jing mine site, upon encountering countless corpses, they had guessed that the Zhao family would seek outside intervention. And that power was likely to be Golden Dragon Ridge, adjacent to White Tiger Mountain. Although they did not recognize the golden-robed man, S.E.A. the novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Through the current situation and his attire, they faintly guessed his identity. Who might you be? Lu Changsheng looked at the golden-robed man who had appeared, his expression calm and indifferent. Having guessed that Golden Dragon Ridge might intervene, he had dared to come here. Naturally, he had strategies to cope. Otherwise, upon hearing a mere name, would he have to take his wife, friends, and children and slink away, abandoning his dignity as Lu ancestor? Golden Dragon Ridge Great Elder, Jin Zan. The golden-robed man looked at Lu Changsheng, his expression haughty as he declared his identity. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Omicron New 0, as expected. Li Feiyu and the Lu family disciples all felt a sinking feeling in their hearts upon hearing this. Do you of the Jin family truly intend to meddle in the matters between Bai Lake Mountain and White Tiger Mountain? Lu Changsheng's expression remained unchanged, his voice indifferent. This elder has heard that near your Bai Lake Mountain's mine, within the Black Cloud Mountain range, a spirit stone mine was discovered. We originally wished to cooperate with Bai Lake Mountain in mining. But your Lu family, in order to monopolize this mine, has committed murder. Now, you even use this as an excuse to attack White Tiger Mountain. Our Jin family has been on good terms with White Tiger Mountain for generations, and this elder cannot idly watch such matters unfold. Jin Zan, clad in a golden robe, stood with his hands behind his back, his voice steady yet condescending, coming from a family with a legacy nearly 1,000 years old and a false core immortal patriarch. He naturally looked down on upstart families like Lu Changsheng's, which had been established for just over a decade without any profound heritage. Even though Lu Changsheng and Lu Miaoge were well known, he still viewed them with some disdain. As these words were spoken, whether Zhao family disciples or Lu family disciples, all showed angry expressions and glared at each other. Clearly, both sides believed the other had committed unforgivable and utterly despicable acts. Whether this matter is right or wrong will be judged by the Supreme Sect. Have you at Golden Dragon Ridge really decided to interfere in the feud between Bai Lake Mountain and White Tiger Mountain? Lu Changsheng's tone was calm, scoffing as he spoke. If that is the case, then let loose someone experience your extraordinary skills. His scoff was filled with indescribable contempt. He has always disliked wasting words with others. The attitudes of the Zhao and Jin families left no room for discussion, a complete waste of time. In that case, it was better to meet action with action. Li Feiyu appeared shocked. He hadn't expected Lu Changsheng to confront Golden Dragon Ridge head-on. Changsheng always acts with caution and never does anything uncertain. He must have foreseen Golden Dragon Ridge's possible intervention and is confident in his actions. Li Feiyu thought to himself, choosing to trust his close friend. Holding the black gold long blade, mana surged within his body. With a step forward, his black brocade robe fluttered soundlessly, exuding an aura of solemn killing intent. Lu Miaoge, looking as pure as snow, stood quietly beside Lu Changsheng, her expression as calm as still water. After so many years as husband and wife, she trusted Lu Changxing unconditionally. Whatever Lu Changxing did, she would choose to support and trust him. Seeing this, the Zhao family ancestor was overjoyed internally. He thought Lu Changxing had really become arrogant, not knowing his own abilities, or perhaps greed had clouded his judgment, chasing minor benefits at the cost of his life. To dare speak in such a manner to Jin Zan. After all, this Jin Zan was the highest cultivation strength in the Jin family, aside from the false core patriarch, with a 9th-level foundation establishment cultivation strength. For Lu Changxing to offend him like this was simply courting death. Very well, such arrogance, Lu Changxing. Jin Zan was astounded, then immediately became furiously enraged, his voice cold. He had thought that upon his arrival, after announcing his identity and name, Lu Changxing would know difficulties and retreat ignominiously. Yet, not only did Lu Changxing not choose to withdraw, but he also showed no respect at all. This was not only a slap to his face, it was also disregarding his Golden Dragon Ridge Jin family completely. I have heard that you, the Lu couple, cultivate the dual cultivation technique, and together, your combat power is comparable to the peak of foundation establishment. Today, this elder will personally test your reputed skills to see if your arrogance is justified. Jin Zan stepped out of the White Tiger Mountain array, his voice icy as he called out, revealing the spiritual pressure and mana of 9th-level foundation establishment. Though he had heard of the reputations and battle victories of Lu Changxing and Lu Miaoge, he did not quite believe it. After all, 2 early-stage foundation establishment cultivators eliminating many foundation establishment opponents, including 2 at the late stage, in a short time, that sounded like a joke. He thought it more plausible that, working together, they could perhaps manage to kill a couple of opponents if they exhausted all their strength. Especially since the memory stones that had leaked from the Red Leaf Valley market that night showed vague battle conditions, providing only a rough idea. This further convinced him that Lu Changxing was using such means to enhance his family's prestige for opportunistic expansion. Shoo! A silver gleam shot from Jin Zan's eyes. In that instant, Lu Changxing realized it was some kind of divine sense attack secret technique. His divine sense had already surpassed the peak of foundation establishment, striving toward core formation, making such attacks completely ineffective against him. Divine sense attack, I can do that too. Lu Changxing snorted lightly, and a divine sense attack soul dispersion needle formed in his mind and shot out invisibly. Humph. Jin Zan grunted, his brow furrowing tightly, his face showing disbelief. He had never expected that his divine sense attack would not only have no effect on Lu Changxing but that he himself would almost suffer a loss. The surrounding crowd, witnessing this scene, all showed expressions of shock. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 881, Husband and Wife Join Forces, Problem Solved. 8K Big Chapter. Although they couldn't perceive the invisible clash of spiritual consciousness, it was clear that Jin Zan had just been at a disadvantage. Elder Jin, if that's all the strength you have, there's still time to retreat, Lu Changxing said calmly, clad in a green robe, looking ethereal and handsome. It seems I've underestimated Lu Mountain Lord. It's to be expected, after all, Lu Changxing is renowned for his talisman formation art and naturally has extraordinary divine sense, Jin Zan said, his expression dark and unpleasant, realizing he had underestimated his opponent and had hoped to catch him off guard with his divine sense. Seeing this, the Zhao family patriarch didn't hesitate and immediately charged out of the great formation to join Jin Zan. At this point, with both sides confronting each other, he naturally couldn't just watch Jin Zan face 3 foundation establishment cultivators alone. Roar! At the same time, a tiger's roar echoed from the depths of White Tiger Mountain. A white-browed tiger, nearly 10 feet tall, appeared, walking on clouds and enveloped in rolling demon chi. Upon closer inspection, one could see that the tiger's fur was sparse and gray-white, its body slightly emaciated, showing signs of old age. This was none other than the clan guardian spirit beast of White Tiger Mountain, the high-rank Howling Cloud Tiger. Originally, Lu Changsheng's side had 3 foundation-building great cultivators. But now, the Zhao family also had 2 foundation-building great cultivators and a second-order spiritual beast. Moreover, this place was the spirit land of the Zhao family, protected by the fierce tiger encircling mountain great formation. This formation was a second-order top-quality array, which even an energy-refining cultivator could control to threaten foundation establishment cultivators. Lu Yun saw that the situation was not good, his expression a bit panicked, and he quickly opened his spiritual pet bag. Aowo. The 9 Netherhound appeared instantly, with its blood-red intimidating eyes sweeping over everyone. It let out a low growl, its head looking fierce and terrifying, exuding an aura of savage evil. A second-order spiritual beast. Jin Zan and the Zhao family patriarch were taken aback upon seeing the 9 Netherhound. They hadn't expected that the small by Lake Mountain would have a second-order spiritual beast. And this beast's appearance and aura seemed far superior to the Zhao family's howling cloud tiger. Is this Xiao He? Li Feiyu was surprised to see the 9 Netherhound. He not only recognized the 9 Netherhound but also knew that this spiritual pet was picked up by Lu Changxing 3 years ago during their arrangement. But now, in such a short time, this spiritual pet had actually advanced to the 2nd rank. It should be noted that normal demon beasts would need at least 50 to 60 years, or even a century, to have a chance at advancing to the 2nd rank. And after hunting demon beasts for many years, he could tell at a glance that the 9 Netherhound was not simple, it was at least of Earth-grade bloodline, or even some kind of mutated bloodline. Changsheng's good fortune, Li Feiyu was at a loss for what to say internally, feeling a surge of envy. Just a 2nd-rank early-stage demon beast, Jin Zan said coldly and dismissively. However, the Zhao family patriarch and several Zhao family cultivators noticed their clan guardian spirit beast, the howling cloud tiger, revealing a hint of fear in its somewhat cloudy tiger eyes when facing the 9 Netherhound. Gold dragon hand. Jin Zan snorted coldly, slapping his storage bag from which a golden claw, shining like a golden dragon claw, flew out. This claw burst forth with a force capable of piercing gold and stone, tearing through the air and lancing toward Lu Changxing. Tai Chi Talisman. Lu Changxing held Lu Maiage's fair and delicate hand, their fingers interlocked, and he whispered to her. He had previously made it known that the 2 practiced dual cultivation technique, so now was the time for the couple to join forces and validate that claim. This was also why he came with Lu Miaoge rather than Ling Zixiao. VVVV, in an instant, both of their mana flowed together, merging their energies. The Tai Chi talisman in Lu Maiage's hand flew out, hovering in the air, emitting radiant 7-colored halos before transforming into a small sword swirling with colors. The Water of Virtue technique included 2 life-bound spiritual artifacts, one for attack and the other for defense. The attacking spiritual artifact, the Tai Chi talisman, could transform into myriad types of artifacts for fending off enemies. Lu Changxing had planted the Tai Dao seed in Lu Miaoge, giving them a shared source of mana, allowing them to command the artifact. Clang! The Tai Chi talisman sword collided with the golden claw, causing a sound of clashing metal and sparks to fly as the 2 forces of mana rubbed and collided. Sar the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. What a couple from by Lake Mountain's Lu clan, they really have some skills, said Jin Zan, his face changing slightly, before a cold smile appeared and he continued, but if you think you can match a foundation establishment peak with just this, you're sorely mistaken. Gold Dragon Square Halberd. He gestured an incantation with both hands and slapped his dantian, as if a dragon's roar emanated from within him. A halberd-like spiritual artifact burst forth from his body, enveloped in layers of golden light, like a roaring flood dragon, radiating strong waves of mana. Roar. Above the gold dragon square halberd, ancient patterns flowed, and a shadowy flood dragon emerged, its claws and teeth ready to strike. Faced with this attack, Lu Miaoge immediately brandished her water ju, placing it above her head to create a series of azure water screens. Windfire formation. Lu Changxing chuckled lightly, making a gesture incantation with one hand and flicking his sleeve. The talisman that hovered behind him shot out along with the 99 mystic true signs, forming a talisman formation that trapped the gold dragon square halberd. Tai Chi sword, kill. Lu Changsheng, feigning control over the Tai Chi talisman, shouted out commandingly. Although the Tai Chi talisman was only a low-quality spiritual artifact, at that moment, it was ferocious, exuding an overbearing and astounding magic aura, repelling the gold dragon hand and slashing straight at Jin Zan. This isn't good. Upon seeing this, Jin Zan's expression dramatically changed, and he hurriedly maneuvered his gold dragon hand to intercept the seven-colored sword. Clang! The gold dragon hand, confronting the Tai Chi talisman, began to falter, its golden luster dimming and the spiritual artifact seeming to cry out in distress. Watching this scene, everyone present was shocked and stunned. Nobody had expected that Lu Changsheng and Lu Miaoge, joining forces, would be so formidable. In just a few exchanges, they had put Elder Jin from the Jin family at a disadvantage. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 882, Husband and Wife Join Forces, Problem Solved. 8K Big Chapter, no wonder Changsheng is so confident. It turns out that when he and Miss Lu combine their strength, their combat power is like that of someone at the peak of Foundation establishment. Li Feiyu muttered to himself, astonished by his good brother's strength. He had thought that after his breakthrough to Foundation establishment, he could barely catch up with Lu Changsheng, but now he realized the gap between their powers was so large. Yes, the fact that Lu Changsheng and Lu Miaoge joined forces to kill the robber cultivator happened 10 years ago. Now that 10 years have passed, Lu Changsheng's cultivation level has broken through to the middle stage of Foundation establishment, and Lu Miaoge has also increased her strength. Together, they are far beyond ordinary Foundation establishment cultivators. I'm afraid only the false core patriarch could suppress them. At this moment, the Zhao family ancestor felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar, sweating profusely, terrified and regretful. He knew that now was not the time for regret. The only thing to do was to rely on Jin Zan still being there, to make a quick decision. Lu Changsheng must be distracted at this moment. If I take the chance to kill him, there is still a chance. The Zhao family ancestor's expression turned fierce, and he shouted loudly to his family, operate the Great Formation at full strength and kill Lu Changsheng. During his words, he immediately brought out a resplendent purple gold armor and, holding a long sword, charged towards Lu Changsheng. Your opponent is me. Li Feiyu looked at the Zhao family ancestor, his expression cold and uncompromising as he stepped up to meet him. Even if his opponent's cultivation level was higher than his, he, Li Feiyu, had come through many battles and had never encountered a scene he had not seen, having even killed someone at the late stage of energy refinement when he was at the middle stage. All remain calm, offer the talismans to resist the Great Formation. Lu Chuanjun looked at the situation unfolding before him, his expression serious, as he immediately released the aura of the 9th level of energy refinement. CTH Ovalfire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. In the midst of speaking, he slapped his storage bag and brought out the second-rank puppet that Lu Changsheng had given him, calling out to his fellow brothers and sisters. These Lu family disciples had never experienced such a battlefield, and for a moment, some were panicked. But upon hearing Lu Quanzhen's words, they quickly calmed down and one after another took out talismans from their storage bags. Xiao He, that guy is up to you. Lu Chuanjun looked at the 9 Netherhound and immediately pointed at the howling cloud tiger that was roaring out, saying quickly, roar. The 9 Netherhound roared at the howling cloud tiger, causing a look of fear to flicker in the tiger's turbid eyes. This howling cloud tiger was a demon beast at the middle stage of the 2nd rank. However, the suppression of bloodlines among demon beasts was very serious. Not to mention that it was getting old and was not at its peak strength. Even if it were at its peak, facing the 9 Netherhound, it would be suppressed by bloodline alone, weakening its momentum by a third and unable to exert its full strength. Not bad. Lu Changsheng nodded slightly, looking at the performance of his children. Although their display was not particularly good, it was not utterly unsightly either. Especially his son, Lu Chuanjun, whom he had always been very satisfied with. Kill. He looked towards Jin Zan and coldly shouted a command. The wobbling golden dragon hand, under the pressure of the Tai Chi talisman, finally let out a burdened wail and began to crack. How is this possible? Jin Zan watched Lu Changsheng and Lu Miaoge, who looked like a couple of gods, his face extremely ugly. For the first time, he felt the enemy was so troublesome. He wanted to retract his life-bound spiritual artifact to go on the offensive for defense. But at this moment, the golden dragon halberd was trapped by Lu Changsheng's talisman formation, constantly bombarded, draining his mana. PFF. The Tai Chi talisman sword burst forth with a dazzling array of 7 colors, extremely brilliant, and continued to slash towards Jin Zan. Damn it, how can there be such a dual cultivation technique that allows a middle-stage foundation establishment and an early-stage foundation establishment to have such strength? Jin Zan hurriedly brought out a white light pearl, forming a thick protective barrier around himself. Then with both hands forming a gesture incantation, he fully activated his life-bound spiritual artifact, the golden dragon halberd, trying to go on the offensive for defense to break the talisman formation and strike at Lu Changsheng. However, in just a moment, he was filled with dread. Boom boom boom, under the assault of the Tai Chi talisman sword, his protective barrier cracked in a short while and began to widen at a visible rate. He quickly tried to stabilize the protective spirit pearl in front of him. Humph. Lu Changsheng, seeing this, let out a cold snort. Boom boom boom. In an instant, the talisman formation trapping the golden dragon halberd exploded on his command. He hadn't used many talismans this time, most of them were first-grade talismans, with only a small portion being second-grade talismans. Yet the fusion and explosion of so many talismans were still extremely powerful, causing everyone present to tremble with fear. Jin Zan's life-bound spiritual artifact cried out in the explosion of the talisman formation, a crack appearing on its surface. PFF. Jin Zan, who had been managing to hold on, suddenly turned pale the moment his life-bound spiritual artifact was damaged, spitting out a mouthful of essence blood, and seemed to age considerably. Stop, Lu. Lu Mountain Lord, I, the Elder, admit defeat. Jin Zan's voice trembled with fear as he spoke. He dared not continue fighting, knowing that if he did, he would likely end his life there. Lu Changsheng looked at Jin Zan before him and after a moment, coldly spat out a single word, scram. Jin Zan was the great elder of the Jinlong Ridge Jin family. He wasn't ready to completely fall out with the Jin family just yet. Jin Zan's face was ashen, wanting to say something but not daring to speak. Finally, glancing at his life-bound spiritual artifact, he gritted his teeth, turned into a streak of light, and fled in disarray. What? The Zhao family ancestor and the people of the Zhao family saw this scene, all shocked and appalled, despair evident in their eyes. They had never imagined that the Jinlong Ridge Jin family's great elder would be defeated so quickly by Lu Changsheng and Lu Miaoge, forced to escape in such a sorry state. It was too unexpected, utterly inconceivable. Lu Mountain Lord, the Zhao family ancestor, was fighting Li Feiyu, currently gaining the upper hand, driving Li Feiyu to retreat. But at this moment, he instantly lost his will to fight, wanting to surrender and apologize. However, before he could finish speaking, Lu Changsheng had already sent the Tai Chi talisman sword slashing towards him. PFF. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 883, Husband and Wife Join Forces, Problem Solved. 8K Big Chapter, _4 Sarch * the novel, F. Iyer. And a website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The 7-colored glow burst forth, instantly shattering the Zhao family ancestor's battle armor's defense, decapitating his head, which was filled with terror. Ancestor. Inside White Tiger Mountain, members of the Zhao family, who were managing the formation, witnessed this scene and all screamed in shock and fear. At that moment, some cried out loud, some screamed in terror, some showed faces of regret, and some even knelt down pleading for mercy. They all knew that their family was finished. White Tiger Mountain was finished. Roar! Beside them, Lu Chuanjin commanded a second-rank puppet and the 9 Netherhound battling the Howling Cloud Tiger, causing the tiger to scream in anguish. Pfft! Lu Changsheng, seeing this, showed no mercy and used the Tai Chi talisman to slay the aged Howling Cloud Tiger with a sword stroke. He looked toward White Tiger Mountain and said indifferently, "Are you not going to open the formation quickly?" Boom! Moments later, the power of the fierce tiger encircling mountain great formation slowly dissipated, and the mountain gate opened. Lu Changsheng retrieved Jin Zan's lifebound spiritual artifact. Holding Lu Maiage's hand, they descended from the air like a celestial couple, arriving at the gate. At this time, all cultivators of the Zhao family had knelt down. Yet, a few still refused to submit, severing their heart veins and killing themselves. The leading Zhao family patriarch looked at the celestial couple before him, fear evident in his eyes, and said, "Zhao family patriarch Zhao Mingwei greets Lu Mountain Lord, Lu Ancestor. Please spare our Zhao family, Lu Mountain Lord, Lu Ancestor. I am willing to dissolve the Zhao family and give White Tiger Mountain and all our properties to Blue Lake Mountain as compensation. Our Zhao descendants are adept in vein exploration, purification, and artifact forging. If Lu Mountain Lord requires, we are at your disposal." Without any second thoughts, the Zhao family patriarch and several family elders immediately said with sobbing faces. Faced with this situation, even though they felt immense anger, they could not muster any will to resist. They could only plead for mercy, begging Lu Changsheng to spare their lives and preserve their family lineage. "Ha, did you really think I came here to forcibly take over your Zhao family's spirit land and properties? You Zhao family plotted against my daughter, coveted the mines of my Blue Lake Mountain, and even called on Golden Dragon Ridge, seeking to use power to overwhelm and frame us. It is due to these actions that I intervened," Lu Changsheng snorted. While he did have his eyes on White Tiger Mountain, the pretext was still avenging his daughter. "Absolutely, absolutely," I spoke out of turn. The Zhao family patriarch quickly nodded in agreement, slapping himself, utterly servile. "Since you truly and sincerely seek to offer reparations and apologize, I naturally want slaughter all of you." Lu Changsheng's expression softened slightly. "Thank you, Lu Mountain Lord, thank you." Hearing this, the Zhao members showed mixed expressions of grief and joy, promptly voicing their thanks. However, there were still many Zhao descendants who kept their heads down, clenching their fists, daring to be angry but not speaking out. After all, such an act was utterly disgraceful. Which Zhao family elders and descendants plotted against my daughter Rui? Lu Changsheng surveyed the Zhao members and spoke. After a short while, 3 bodies were dragged over. These 3 knew that others might live, but they had no chance of survival. Better to end their lives by suicide than to later beg for life without being able to die. Lu Rui stepped forward, glanced at them to confirm they were the ones who had captured her, nodded in acknowledgement, her heart filled with myriad emotions. "Since the primary culprits are eliminated, and the grudges resolved, let us put this matter to rest for now," Lu Changsheng, seeing this, spoke in a calm and mild tone. "Now that your Zhao family no longer has foundation establishment cultivators to guard, it's hard to defend White Tiger Mountain. Does the Zhao patriarch have any plans?" The Zhao family patriarch, hearing this, appeared stunned. Then, with a face full of sorrow and tears, he displayed a respectful and flattering demeanor. "The Zhao family is willing to be a vassal to Blue Lake Mountain, completely at the disposal of the ancestor." Lu Changsheng nodded. He indeed didn't have the intention to annihilate them completely. On one hand, ending this small matter with full slaughter wouldn't look good on the surface, and rumors would sound unpleasant, deterring and displeasing surrounding families. On the other hand, his family currently couldn't spare manpower to oversee White Tiger Mountain. The Zhao family lacked foundation establishment cultivators now, but they could still serve as guards. Besides, with so many spiritual root cultivators in the Zhao family, it would be a pity and a waste to just kill them all. They would indeed be useful, whether sent to mine, refine artifacts, or other tasks. Father. At this moment, Lu Chuanjun transmitted a message to Lu Changxing. HM. What is it? Lu Changxing looked at his son. The child has some thoughts. Lu Chuanjun immediately aired some of his ideas and suggestions for the Zhao family arrangements. Okay. Lu Changxing briefly pondered, replying with one word. Others at the scene saw Lu Changxing not speaking, unknowing of what he was considering, but no one dared to inquire further. Zhao Patriarch, since your Zhao family is willing to become vassals to my family, we are all one family now. This significant matter still requires Uncle to notify any Zhao cultivators outside to come back, so we can all get acquainted. By the way, from now on, the matters of White Tiger Mountain will be under my management. My name is Lu Chuanjun, and Uncle Zhao can just call me Chuanjun. Lu Chuanjun stepped forward, his clean-cut cheeks showing a smile, his eyes narrow, and he bowed. To ensure better future relations between our families without conflicts, if there are people in your family who do not wish to stay on White Tiger Mountain and want to leave, my Lu family will not insist nor proceed with total annihilation. Just swear an oath of the Tao Heart that you will not use the Zhao name of White Tiger Mountain to harbor ill intentions against my Blue Lake Mountain Lu family in the future, and I will let you leave now. Whether you become loose cultivators or rebuild a family, my Lu family will not interfere. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 884, Husband and Wife Join Forces, Problem Solved. 8K Big Chapter, _5 Lu Chuanjun looked at the Zhao family members and spoke in a gentle voice. Upon hearing his words, the cultivators from the Zhao family were all stunned, their expressions filled with disbelief. But they all lowered their heads, not daring to make a sound or move. After a moment, only one Zhao family disciple strode forward, his face filled with anger as he approached Lu Chuanjun. Only one person? Lu Quanzhen's expression was unchanged, a faint smile on his face. Since it's only one person, fellow Daoist brother, please. Lu Chuanjun made a welcoming gesture and walked out of the gates of White Tiger Mountain with this person. Seeing this scene, several Zhao family disciples, and even a Zhao family elder stepped forward, indicating their desire to leave. Of course, you may. Upon seeing this, Lu Quanzhen's face maintained its smile, his tone calm. However, a few Lu family disciples looked somewhat puzzled, unable to understand why Lu Chuanjun was doing something as risky as releasing the tiger back to the mountain. Although these Zhao family disciples could hardly be considered tigers. But if they were left to wander outside, it would pose an added danger to Bai Lake Mountain. Yuner, you and the Zhao family patriarch should tally up the current situation of White Tiger Mountain. Lu Changxing called out to his son, Lu Yun. Yes, father. Lu Yun immediately nodded and stepped forward to confirm the number of family members, property, and resources with the Zhao family patriarch. Changxing, although you let Jin Zan go this time, the conflict has been established and Golden Dragon Ridge is unlikely to let it go. At this moment, Li Feiyu looked at Lu Changxing and spoke in a low voice. Don't worry, unless the false core patriarch of Golden Dragon Ridge personally takes action, the Jin family can't do anything to me. And besides, this time I merely took over White Tiger Mountain and did not have direct conflict with their Golden Dragon Ridge, so that ancestor from Jin probably won't start a war over this trivial matter and trouble me. Lu Changxing said with a smile. Even if that ancestor of Jin family were to actually come looking for trouble, he was not the least bit afraid. However, these words, he naturally would not say to Li Feiyu. He continued, moreover, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. There are quite a few families in this area who are eyeing the Jin family. These family forces may not want to see my Bai Lake Mountain rise, but they would like even less to see Golden Dragon Ridge rise. I reckon it won't be long before many families come to Bai Lake Mountain to discuss forming an alliance, hoping we confront Golden Dragon Ridge directly. Lu Changxing said in an unhurried voice. But having been a mountain master for over a decade, he understood these principles well. Golden Dragon Ridge's domineering behavior and their family currently being on the rise means that the surrounding families probably both fear and dread the Gene family, not wanting them to continue to develop. Like the earlier Gene Zon, although his combat power is average, far inferior to that robber cultivator from the Red Leaf Valley market. But with 9th layer foundation establishment and not being particularly old, not to mention condensing a true elixir which is a remote possibility. But if he had sufficient resources, there was still hope to condense a false core. Once a false core is formed, it's something nobody wants to see. However, he had just been seriously injured by Lu Changxing, damaging his life-bound spiritual artifact, injuring his origin source. It would probably take several years, even over a decade, to recover. Okay, as long as you're aware. Li Feiyu heard this and nodded, knowing these things were more clear to Lu Changxing than himself. Feiyu, this man's armor and spiritual artifacts are quite good, they should suit you well. Lu Changxing pointed to the Zhao family ancestor's spiritual artifact and spoke. Sir, the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. This Zhao family, deserving of their nearly 1,000-year heritage, indeed had quite a foundation. Like these two spiritual artifacts, they were obviously not ordinary assembly line products, belonging to the top grade among spiritual artifacts. Just right, as Li Feiyu had previously mentioned wanting to forge an armor spiritual artifact, and here it was served up to him. Don't refuse, I've gained so much from White Tiger Mountain, it's only right for you to take these, and later on, see if there's anything else useful. Lu Changxing straightforwardly said, raising his hand. He was always generous towards people close to him. Li Feiyu sincerely treated him well, so he would help as much as he could. All right, since that's the case, then I won't be polite. Hearing this, Li Feiyu didn't refuse any more and laughed heartily. Changxing, what was Chuanjin doing just now? At this moment, Lu Miaoge asked softly, unaware of Lu Quanzhen's earlier intentions. She wasn't particularly surprised or shocked by Lu Changsheng's display of cultivation and magical power. After all, having been together for so many years, she knew many things. Now, unless Lu Changxing directly achieved core formation or nascent soul, these situations were no longer able to move her. Hee, didn't you notice? Jiuyo is not here. Lu Changxing looked up at the sky and spoke softly. He naturally would not agree to his son doing something like sending the tiger back to the mountain. Huh. Only then did Lu Miaoge notice that the 9 Netherhound had disappeared at some unknown time, and she understood Lu Quanzhen's purpose. It was to first deal with the Zhao family members who harbored deep hatred against their own family. Then slowly deal with these Zhao family members now. Tens of miles away from White Tiger Mountain. Lu Chuanjin, you clearly said you would let us go. A Zhao family disciple was frantically escaping through the forest, maneuvering a spiritual artifact and using the wind-commanding technique, his face showing horror. Lu Chuanjin sat on the back of the 9 Netherhound, his expression cold and silent. Roar! In a short while, the 9 Netherhound swooped beside this Zhao family disciple, biting his body in half, blood and flesh a blur. Lu Chuanjin used a flame bullet technique to burn him to ashes, then applied the cleansing technique to clean the bloodstains from the soil. Thank you for your hard work. Lu Chuanjin said to the 9 Netherhound. If it weren't for the 9 Netherhound being able to remember these people's scents and thus track them, with these people escaping separately, he really would have had trouble resolving them all. All settled, next up is handling the aftermath for the Zhao family. Lu Chuanjin squinted his slightly narrow eyes, stored the 9 Netherhound into the spiritual pet bag, tidied his robe slightly, and with his face regaining its clear and elegant appearance, he maneuvered his spiritual artifact to return to White Tiger Mountain. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 885, Brothers' Conversation, Stirring from All Directions. White Tiger Mountain. Inside a great hall. Disciples of the Lu family gathered together, discussing the battle that took place today. Although they hadn't done much themselves, the events of the day still brought them a great shock and made them realize the cruelty of the cultivation world. "Brother, when did you break through to the energy refinement late stage?" At this moment, Lu Caizhen saw her brother Lu Chuanjun return and immediately went up to him, quietly asking with excitement. She knew that her brother worked very hard on his cultivation every day. But she hadn't expected her brother to be so formidable. "Chuanjun, you've broken through to the energy refinement late stage. Brother Chuanjun, you must have reached the 8th level energy refinement now, right? Brother Chuanjun, you just let the Zhao family go. What if they renege later and harbor thoughts of revenge?" Other disciples of the Lu family also spoke up when they saw Lu Chuanjun. The highest cultivation among these people was 6th level energy refinement. Advancing from the 6th to the 7th level was a significant barrier. With their spiritual root talent, breaking through this barrier would take a lot of time and possibly even require elixir medicines. However, the strength Lu Chuanjun demonstrated today was clearly not just breaking through to the energy refinement late stage. Especially in the previous battle, Lu Chuanjun not only displayed a strength far above their own but also faced danger without fear, commanding a second-rank puppet to fight together with a 9 netherhound against a second-order monster beast. His image grew immensely formidable in their minds. "Hee, I had some opportunities when I was out, so I luckily made a breakthrough. As for the Zhao family matter, don't worry." Lu Chuanjun smiled at his younger brothers and sisters, not saying much more. After all, his actions were not exactly righteous. But some thought of how long Lu Chuanjun had been away before returning and began to speculate, looking at him with increased admiration. "Brother Chuanjun, you're back. I've already roughly gathered the current information about the Zhao family situation." At this time, Lu Yun, along with Lu Rui, Lu Xiaoru, and a few others returned and immediately spoke upon seeing Lu Chuanjun. Although he was the patriarch of the Lu family, they were all brothers and sisters, so there was no undue authority. Moreover, Lu Chongqing had said, the matter of White Tiger Mountain was under the full responsibility of Lu Chuanjun, so even though he was the family head, he wouldn't interfere too much. "Thanks for the hard work, Brother Yun." Lu Chuanjun showed a slight smile. Because Chu Zhenjin and Lu Miaoyun were very close, he and his siblings were quite close with Lu Yun and his siblings on a normal day. The two went to a side hall. Lu Chuanjun took the scroll and flipped through it, casually asking, "Brother Yun, do you have any suggestions for how we should handle the Zhao family?" "Brother Chuanjun, you've always been better than me in these matters, you can make the decisions yourself." Lu Yun spoke directly. He knew Lu Chuanjun was better than him at handling affairs. His own election as family head was entirely due to his father considering his mother Lu Miaoyun and Qingzhou Mountain. "We're just brothers talking, and besides, you'll have to take over the affairs of White Tiger Mountain sooner or later," Lu Chuanjun said softly with a smile. He had long been disinterested in family affairs, only wanting to focus on his cultivation and break through to the foundation establishment. But after meeting his uncle Chu Chang'e, he saw a much broader world. He knew the cultivation realm of Jiang country was too small. He had to set his sights higher, looking at the entire southern wilderness cultivation realm. Only by doing so could he fulfill the agreement with his uncle, to form a high-quality golden core within 100 years. Now that the Zhao family has submitted to our family, the next step naturally is to stabilize the situation with the Zhao family, ensure their loyalty. In this period, we also need to draw in some people from the Zhao family. I saw that apart from the main lineage, they have 2 other lineages. Lu Yun's face showed some hesitation as he spoke. Exactly, it's about elevating the collateral branches over the direct lineage, the side branches over the main lineage. For a family like the Zhao family, where the side and collateral branches are usually overlooked and lack a sense of belonging, as long as we give them some incentives, they'll be willing to be our dogs. Lu Chuanjun said with a smile, "But Brother Yun, strategies for power ultimately aren't honorable. In this world, only true power is the supreme rule. Just like the Zhao family's vassal submission to our family, they fear father, aunt, Uncle Li, and Joyo. So, we need not spend too much effort on the Zhao family, to stabilize their situation, make them loyal. As long as father is here, all our aunts are here, the Zhao family wouldn't dare harbor any crooked thoughts, they can only obediently be our dogs." If you're in a good mood, then you reward them with a few bones. If they dare to disobey, or do things sloppily, just kill them outright. After all, there are plenty of Zhao family members willing to be dogs. Remember, petty people only fear might, not kindness. The more polite and accommodating you are, the more they'll test your limits and take advantage. Lu Chuanjun looked at the information on the jade scroll, speaking nonchalantly. Fear of might without respect for virtue. Lu Yun was stunned, then his face showed realization, and he followed with a bit of embarrassment. Brother Chuanjun, I understand what you mean, but if this spreads and other families hear about it, won't it affect our family's reputation? Brother Yun, it's the same old saying, true power is the supreme rule. Lu Chuanjun looked up and smiled. With father, all our aunts here, what can other families dare gossip about? Even when it comes to reputation, was our family's reputation great when we seized Bihu Mountain from the Yu family, or now as we take down White Tiger Mountain? How could such a thing matter compared to others? These kinds of things others won't even dare to gossip about. How could they care about such insignificant matters? As long as our family is powerful, no matter what we do, there will always be people who praise us. Lu Chuanjun said this and patted his younger brother's shoulder. He knew that Aunt Lu Miaoyan had been the main mother in the family earlier, managing all the large and small affairs in the back court, and had not disciplined Lu Yun enough. The novel, F. Ire. Enter website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 886, Brothers Talk, Movements from All Directions. But in order to set an example for the family, Lu Miaoyan imposed very strict requirements on the behavior and character of Lu Yun and his siblings. During his early years under the doting care of Qingzhou Mountain's fourth elder, Lu Yun had been somewhat arrogant. However, under Lu Miaoyan's strict guidance, his personality gradually became subservient, always listening to his mother Lu Miaoyan's arrangements, lacking in decisiveness and self-confidence. In his usual conduct, he always tried to follow in his father Lu Changsheng's footsteps, yet he only managed to mimic the surface, resulting in indecisiveness and being overly righteous. This was not only Lu Yun's problem, many of the Lu family's sons shared this issue. I understand, Lu Yun nodded, then said with a bitter smile, Brother Chuanjun, I've always thought that you would be better suited for the position of family head than me. In 2 more years, when the family's leadership term is up for renewal, if you are willing, I believe father will certainly agree. Lu Yun had always been aware of his own indecisiveness and lack of ruthlessness. Brother Yun, do not underestimate yourself. With you as family head, at least the family is harmonious, and all your younger brothers and sisters acknowledge you, Lu Chuanjun said with a smile. Although Lu Yun did lack ruthlessness and decisiveness, he had always been diligent and fair in his role as family head, unprejudiced and uncorrupted by power, thus he was well recognized by his siblings. After the 2 brothers chatted casually for a while and settled on their plans, they began assigning tasks, mobilizing all the Lu family disciples. Tsk, the Zhao family, with nearly 1,000 years of heritage, truly has quite a foundation, said Lu Changsheng and Lu Miaoga as they arrived at the cave mansion where the Zhao family ancestor had been in closed-door cultivation. This place was at the spiritual spring of the White Tiger Mountain spirit vein, where the spiritual energy was very dense, having reached the level of second-order superior grade. It's not to say that the White Tiger Mountain spirit vein was second-order superior grade. Rather, with only one foundation establishment cultivator, the Zhao family ancestor, and a second-order demon beast on White Tiger Mountain, there was an abundance of spiritual energy. Thus, through a spirit gathering array, the concentration of spiritual energy in the cave mansion easily reached that of second-order superior grade. Through the origin spirit pupillary art, Lu Changsheng could see that this spirit vein of White Tiger Mountain already showed signs of progressing towards a second-order superior grade spirit vein. It would immediately be promoted to a second-order superior grade spirit vein with just one spiritual origin pearl infused into it. However, this spirit vein is destined not to advance to a second-order superior grade. Lu Changsheng exhaled lightly, preparing to extract part of the vein's origin source to nourish his own family's spirit vein. However, to extract from the spirit vein, he still had to make some preparations. Although he had acquired the skills of a dragon seeker, due to time constraints, he had not yet prepared the basic artifacts necessary for a dragon seeker. Thus, Lu Changsheng and Lu Miaoge stationed themselves at White Tiger Mountain, ordering Li Feiyu to take Lu Xianji, Lu Xiaoru, and the other children back to Bai Lake Mountain. After all, these children had their own responsibilities within the family, and being away for too long would have an impact. They only left Lu Chuanjun, Lu Yun, and Lu Rui behind to handle affairs here. At this time, after reviewing the assets and expenditures of the Zhao family over the years, Lu Changsheng also came to understand why the Zhao family ancestor had coveted his family's spirit stone mine. Too poor. The Zhao family's conditions were decent and they once had their peak, but after the battle at Blackwater Pool, the family suffered heavy losses, leading to them scraping by just barely. Therefore, the Zhao family ancestor increased the cultivation of the family members, which resulted in White Tiger Mountain running at a loss year after year. It's important to know that not every family is like Bai Lake Mountain, with a patriarch like Lu Changsheng, who not only doesn't rely on family profit for income but continuously digs into his own pockets to subsidize the family. The White Tiger Mountain's expenses were greater than its income, but the ancestral cultivation expenses couldn't be skimped on, leading to the selling of many family possessions and a growing deficit. 8 years ago, the foundation establishment hopeful cultivated by White Tiger Mountain failed their breakthrough, plunging White Tiger Mountain into even more dire straits, and making the past years extremely difficult. Alas, although the Zhao family has a special skill in artifact refining, the majority of the family's income comes from mineral veins. Now that the mining has become severe, yet they haven't developed new sources of profit. Even if this incident hadn't occurred, they would face a family crisis in a few decades, Lu Changsheng said, shaking his head. Due to environmental conditions, White Tiger Mountain wasn't suitable for the large-scale cultivation of spiritual medicine or spirit fields, so it was difficult for the Zhao family to find new sources of profit. Sir the Nafire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The situation at White Tiger Mountain could be used to set up factories or open marketplaces, Lu Changsheng mused to himself. However, he definitely wouldn't use White Tiger Mountain to establish a marketplace. He planned to establish a branch family here and build several factories after his children's foundation establishment breakthroughs. However, to establish factories, we still need to deal with the Jin family first, because if the two families are neighbors and White Tiger Mountain comes under attack, wouldn't my losses be severe? Lu Changsheng shook his head and did not dwell on this idea, deciding that White Tiger Mountain would continue as usual for now and would be considered later. Although White Tiger Mountain was poor, as a family with nearly 1,000 years of heritage, it still had some foundation. For example, in the areas of magic artifacts and spiritual artifacts. The Zhao family didn't have many ordinary magic artifacts and spiritual artifacts left, having sold most of them. But the treasury still held several top-grade artifacts and spiritual artifacts that had been passed down. These were top-grade artifacts and spiritual artifacts forged by previous generations of patriarchs for the family. If sold, they could easily fetch tens of thousands of spirit stones. Nonetheless, Lu Changsheng naturally wouldn't sell these artifacts but chose to keep them for his own family's use. The next day, the news about Bai Lake Mountain and White Tiger Mountain immediately spread, like a boulder thrown into a pond, creating huge ripples in the surrounding area, and the news also quickly spread throughout the entire Qingyun region. Because it was truly astounding. It wasn't that Bai Lake Mountain had taken over White Tiger Mountain. It was that Lu Changsheng and Lu Miaoge, together, had defeated Jin Zan, the great elder of Jinlong Ridge Jin family. And during the battle, they had called upon a foundation establishment friend for help, and also revealed a second-order demon beast. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 887, Brotherly Conversation, Stirrings from All Sides. You should know that the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family originally had 3 foundation establishment cultivators, Lu Changsheng, Lu Miaoge, and Ling Zixiao. Lu Changsheng, in the Qingyun sect, also had a foundation establishment Dao companion. Now, 2 more Foundation Establishment warriors have been added, making a total of 6 Foundation Establishment warriors. Such a force, when you look across the entire Qingyun region, aside from the beast-taming Su family and the 6 false core families, could be considered the first tier. Especially the astonishing fighting power of both Lu Changsheng and Lu Miaoge. During the earlier battle at the Red Leaf Valley Market, rumors were that the Lu couple cultivated a dual cultivation technique, their fighting power comparable to those at the Foundation Establishment peak, slaying 5 Foundation-building great cultivators. Although everyone was surprised and considered it exaggerated and boastful, most believed it was inflated. However, at this time, Jin Zan of the Jinlong Ridge Great Elder, a renowned Foundation Establishment cultivator with a hopeful future of reaching false core, and even core formation, was defeated by the couple, which was wholly unexpected and remarkably astonishing. The Blue Lake Mountain Lu family has only been established for over a decade. I didn't expect it to grow to such an extent. I've heard that the Lu couple has just broken through to the Foundation Establishment middle stage, and when they join forces, they are able to defeat the great elder of the Jin family. If they both advance to the Foundation Establishment late stage, couldn't they then defeat a false core and contend with a nascent soul Immortal? Could it be that the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family will become the 7th false core level family force? Breaking through to the late stage of Foundation Establishment is not so easy. I heard that Lu Changsheng's spiritual root talent is mediocre. His quick breakthrough to the mid-stage of Foundation Establishment must have involved a great opportunity. White Tiger Mountain and Jinlong Ridge are adjacent. Now that Blue Lake Mountain has taken White Tiger Mountain, for Jinlong Ridge, it must be like a thorn in the eye. They are bound to confront Blue Lake Mountain. TSK, if that false core patriarch from the Jin family were to strike at Blue Lake Mountain and perish along with the Lu couple, that would be quite interesting. I heard that the master of Bihu Mountain is fond of beauties and children and treats his wives and children very well. If we could marry several daughters of our house to this Lu ancestor, it seems that the 2 families could have long-term friendly relations. Linger, Menger, follow me to meet this Lu ancestor. The Blue Lake Mountain Lu family, even if it is bound to rise in the future, Jinlong Ridge is currently the great enemy. Do we have any eligible daughters in our family now? As the news spread, countless people exclaimed in disgust, and many family forces, upon hearing the news, immediately came to meet Lu Changsheng or prepared to discuss forming alliances and cooperation. Qingzhou Mountain. Changsheng and Miaoge actually defeated the great elder of the Jin family. Lu Yuanding and the 4th elder, among others, were so shocked upon hearing the news that they were at a loss for words. Originally, they took Lu Changsheng's claims in the Red Leaf Valley battle as mere bluster. They purposefully put out such rumors to hype up the marketplace. To think now, their battling power is truly astonishing. They joined forces to defeat the great elder of the Jinlong Ridge Jin family. You must know, both Jinlong Ridge Jin family and this great elder belonged to an existence they could only look up to in Qingzhou Mountain, ones they found difficult to even meet. And now, they were defeated by Lu Changsheng and Lu Miaoge. Will my aunt and uncle Changsheng bring trouble by offending Jinlong Ridge? Lu Muping, the newly appointed Lu family ancestor, was somewhat worried. He had been sitting in Qingzhou Mountain for years and had not yet revealed his Foundation Establishment cultivation level. But as time passed, news had been subtly leaked out within the Lu family. Changsheng and Miaoge dare to do this, they surely have their confidence. Lu Yuanding said decisively, his face worried, but his eyes filled with pride. After all, these 2 were his daughter and son-in-law. Search *the novel fire, any *t website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. How could he not be proud of hearing such news? A potential core formation great cultivator was defeated by his daughter and son-in-law. Doesn't this mean that his daughter and son-in-law have the potential to reach false core, or even core formation in the future? I never thought I'd live to see such a day as Lu Yuanding. Even if I died now, it'd be worth it. Thinking like this, Lu Yuanding suddenly laughed happily. That's something for me to say, your old wife, but it's all thanks to you, Yuanding, for bringing Changsheng back into our family all those years ago. The 4th elder's face was aged, but due to taking a second-rank lifespan extension pill, his complexion was good, he said with a smile fondly. Grandpa Ba, great-grandma, please don't talk like that. You don't need to worry about these things now, just focus on keeping yourselves healthy. Perhaps you'll be able to see the day my aunt and Uncle Changxing form their core. Lu Muping respectfully said to Lu Yuanding. Although he was the Lu family ancestor, he was very respectful towards both Lu Yuanding and the fourth elder. Not only because the two were his elders but also because they were Lu Changsheng's elders. Core formation, Lu Yuanding said nothing. But at that moment, both he and the fourth elder revealed a look of longing in their eyes, wondering if they would truly see such a day. After all, this was about nascent soul immortals. Before this, let alone core formation, even reaching false core was an existence they could only dream of. If there truly comes such a day, even if I can't see it, I would die without regrets, Lu Yuanding and the fourth elder both thought to themselves. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 888, Gene Family Scheme, Third Advanced Level Draws Severing Spiritual Veins. Golden Dragon Ridge. Monks of the Gene family, upon hearing rumors from the outside world, were shocked and could not believe the news. After all, Gene Zan was their great elder of the Gene family, the leading figure just below their ancestor. Yet now, there were rumors that their own great elder had been defeated by the couple from Bihu Lake Mountain, Lu Changxing. How can this be possible? The great elder's cultivation level is profound, how could he lose to the Bihu Lake Mountain Lu couple? The rumors say that the Bihu Lake Mountain Lu couple practice a dual cultivation technique, with combat power comparable to the peak of Foundation establishment. Could it be true? No wonder the great elder returned yesterday with a gloomy face, without uttering a single word. The monks of the Gene family discussed fervently. Gene Zan, having been defeated in a miserable state, could not afford to lose face. After returning to Golden Dragon Ridge, he went straight back to his cave mansion. This prevented the Gene family from learning about the news immediately. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Omicron New. Faced with this situation, the patriarch of the Gene family and several elders went to Gene Zan's cave mansion at once to inquire about the situation at White Tiger Mountain. After all, external rumors are just that, rumors. They still needed to understand from Gene Zan, the person involved. If it was just a rumor, the Gene family would naturally come forward to clarify. If it was true, the Gene family would need to salvage their face and dignity. Indeed, I was indeed defeated by the Lu couple. Gene Zan's face was pale, his breath weak, and his tone unfriendly. SSS. 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 Though the Gene family members anticipated the truth of the message, they couldn't help but gasp upon hearing it. I recall that Bihu Lake Mountain was established just over a decade ago. The Lu Changxing couple must be quite young, right? One Gene family elder frowned tightly and spoke. Yes, both Lu Changxing and Lu Miaoga are under 60. The patriarch of the Gene family said gravely. SSS. People gasped in surprise upon hearing this. For a Foundation establishment cultivator, being in their 50s or 60s is considered very young. Like their great elder Gene Zan, who had just celebrated his 120th birthday a few years ago. And even then, he was praised as being talented enough for core formation. This, under 60 and already at the mid-stage of Foundation establishment, if they are allowed to grow, the likelihood is they could break through to the late stage of Foundation establishment and even peak. A Gene family elder muttered under his breath, his eyes filled with a wary look. The Lu couple is now at the mid-stage of Foundation establishment and could defeat Gene Zan. If both were to break through to the late stage, their combat power would be unimaginable. Perhaps even a false core immortal wouldn't necessarily be their match. Still somewhat in disbelief, he turned his gaze to Gene Zan and asked quietly, Great Elder, is the Lu couple's combat power really so fearsome? The Lu couple's cultivation method is extremely powerful, and together, their combat power is indeed no less than the peak of Foundation establishment. Even though his heart was filled with reluctance, Jin Zan admitted it. However, he snorted coldly and continued, "But if it were only this, I would not have been defeated by them." The Jin family patriarch and the others looked at Jin Zan, wanting to know more specifics. Talisman formation. Jin Zan cast a stern look, his eyes sharp, and he spat out 2 words. What really put me at a disadvantage was Lu Changsheng's talisman formation. This man must have encountered a great opportunity. His divine sense is not weaker than mine, and he has understood the art of talisman formations to a very profound extent. With just a thought, he can refine talisman into formation. As long as he possesses enough talismans, this Lu Changsheng can wield combat power not weaker than the peak of Foundation establishment. That's the most fearsome aspect of this couple. Together, they are comparable to the peak of Foundation establishment. All this time, while Lu Changsheng multitasked, focusing on controlling the talisman formation, only our ancestor could have the power to suppress him. Jin Zan recalled the battle from yesterday, his heart filled with frustration. If it hadn't been for his life-bound spiritual artifact being trapped by the talisman formation, preventing him from exerting his full strength, he was confident he wouldn't have lost to them. Even if he couldn't defeat the Lu couple, they shouldn't have been able to defeat him either. Thinking of his life-bound spiritual artifact, Jin Zan's face grew dark and gloomy, his palms clenched. He was at the 9th layer of Foundation establishment and was expected within the next 10 years to reach the peak of Foundation establishment and prepare for core formation. But this battle resulted in damage to his life-bound spiritual artifact, causing harm to his origin source and requiring several years of recuperation. Even relying on heavenly and earthly treasures and spirit pills for recovery, but with his life-bound spiritual artifact taken, the future impact on his breakthroughs to core formation and false core is significant. Talisman formation techniques. Both of the Lu couple are second-ranked talisman masters, especially Lu Changsheng, who ranks as a second-tier top-level talisman master. Who knows how many talismans he possesses? Yes, although talisman formations are very expensive, often requiring hundreds of talismans, few dare to bet on how many he keeps in his possession. It seems if we want to kill him, we must surprise him, swiftly and decisively eliminating him. This young man is so terrifying, he must not be allowed to remain. The Jin family members, upon hearing this, all wore solemn expressions, finding the situation with Lu Changsheng problematic. In earlier years, although they had heard of Lu Changsheng, they did not have a clear understanding. Now, through Jin Zan's recounting, they fully understood how formidable the Lu couple was. Together, the couple was comparable to 2 peak Foundation establishment masters. In this case, only their Jin family ancestor or the entire family taking action could suppress them. But their Jin family could not possibly do so. First, the cost was too great. If their Jin family did so and were careless, it would hurt their vitality. And if the surrounding families saw their weakness, they would come to take a bite. Second, the Jin family had no reason to attack Bihu Lake Mountain without cause. In the past, Qingyun sect laid down rules. Sar the Novel Fire, net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The subordinate family forces must not unreasonably seize or dominate others' spirit land. This is also why all families, when taking action, must have justified reasons and preserve a spirit of uprightness. Besides caring about their reputation, the main reason is still the rules of Qingyun sect. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 889, Jin Family Scheme, 3rd Advanced Level Drawl Severing Spiritual Veins. Great Elder, we must report this matter to the ancestor immediately. The patriarch of Jin family looked towards the Great Elder, asking out loud. Now that such an incident had occurred, their Jin family must respond accordingly. The ancestor is in closed-door cultivation, so we may notify him normally, but there's no need for an emergency notice. Jin Zan thought for a moment before speaking out. The ancestor of Jin family, being a false core immortal, naturally no longer concerned himself with family affairs. He spent most of his time in closed-door cultivation, immersing himself in the study of techniques and magical powers, practicing the 100 arts of cultivation. He had committed such a disgraceful act. How could he have the face to ask the ancestor to come out of seclusion? However, since the Lu couple dared to do this, clearly they've concluded that our Jin family wouldn't lay a finger on them. Jin Zan's eyes flashed with a cold light as he said, "Since that's the case, let's give Lu Changxing a big promotion." Sarch * the Nelfer. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Great Elder, what do you mean? The patriarch of Jin family narrowed his eyes, understanding the implication behind Jin Zan's words. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Omicron, but the latter has always been proud and aloof. Even if he held the position of patriarch, he would not dare to do such a thing unless the other party initiated it. Lu Changxing dares to be so arrogant, not just because of his strength, but also because he knows that many family forces are afraid of our Jin family, eyeing us with covetous eyes, and won't openly clash with him on Blue Lake Mountain. He even intends to use the fame and power to seize the opportunity to align with other families, thereby rapidly developing his own family's influence. Jin Zan said coldly, "Since that's the case, let's oblige him. Release a message to the outside world, claiming that Lu Changxing and his wife, Lu Miaoge, together possess combat strength comparable to that of a false core patriarch. And that Lu Changxing's talisman formation is so powerful that even a false core patriarch would be no match for him. If it were not for my life-saving means, would have almost died at their hands." These families fear our Jin family. Do they not fear Blue Lake Mountain Lu family rising in power? Jin Zan said with a dark face and fierce eyes. Having suffered such a blow, he had lost face. And this loss of face was not something he could reclaim in the short term. So, he decided to elevate Lu Changxing, which in turn wouldn't make himself look too pathetic. Should anyone or any family force learn of this and act against Blue Lake Mountain, it would serve his purposes. Yes, Great Elder. The patriarch of Jin family nodded hastily. Also, use connections to spread this news as far as possible to the ears of several ancestors of the beast-taming Su family. Jin Zan continued. Within the Qingyun region, although their Golden Dragon Ridge was the first-tier power, they couldn't hold a candle to the dominating beast-taming Su family. After all, the Su family didn't rise to power just because of a generation of core formation old ancestors. They had a true heritage spanning thousands of years. Under the leadership of successive core formation old ancestors, they not only possessed the Water Serpent and Fire Raven Dao soldiers, but rumors also said that the family maintained an uninterrupted line of heritage with a third-tier clan guardian spirit beast. The surrounding small families might prefer Blue Lake Mountain's rise over seeing Golden Dragon Ridge thrive. But it was different for the beast-taming Su family. As one of the 3 great clans of Jiang country and the only great clan in the Qingyun region, they absolutely didn't want too many families to rise in this region. The more potential a clan had, the more they wanted to nip it in the bud. After all, it's easier to suppress others than to exert oneself. Rest assured, Great Elder. The patriarch of Jin family understood what Jin Zan meant and nodded his head. At this moment, his face was also full of solemnity. Because the more Jin Zan acted this way, it showed how much he dreaded and feared Lu Changxing. Therefore, he too began to hold Lu Changxing and Blue Lake Mountain in dread. After all, Lu Changxing's rise had indeed been full of legendary stories, making him a person endowed with extraordinary talent and great fortune worthy of forming a core, someone not to be measured by common standards. The Jin family definitely could not afford to take him lightly. Immediately, the patriarch of Jin family convened a meeting and began a series of operations. They not only spread news about Blue Lake Mountain to both praise and kill, but also targeted Blue Lake Mountain and White Tiger Mountain in various ways. At this moment, within the hall of White Tiger Mountain, Ning Daoist, Mo Daoist, rest assured, Lu someone's actions towards White Tiger Mountain were solely because the Zhao family went too far. Although White Tiger Mountain now belongs to Blue Lake Mountain, our cooperation with your 2 families remains unchanged, and we can deepen our cooperation and business dealings in the future, Lu Changxing said to the ancestors of Ning family and Mo family with a smile. Tai Mulam Mo family and Ning family both had good relations with White Tiger Mountain. However, in the wake of the White Tiger Mountain incident, both families rushed to White Tiger Mountain to meet and discuss cooperation with Lu Changxing. Facing this situation, Lu Changxing naturally employed a conciliatory policy. He not only continued all previous cooperation but also conceded some benefits to both families. Seeing this, both families brought their direct daughters, hoping to deepen their relationship with Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. Most of the intermarriages between families were somewhat useful, but not significantly so. But it was different for Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. Lu Changxing, the Lu family ancestor, not only personally took concubines but also was willing to allow the concubines to bear many children. For cultivation families that placed great emphasis on bloodline, this was a gesture filled with sincerity. After all, the future children would carry half of their family's bloodline. Provided their families offered ample support during the child's growth, wouldn't the child favor their family once grown? If a child with extraordinary talent emerged from among Lu Changxing's children and stood out, it would be a great boon for their family. Therefore, sending a daughter with great talent from their own family to marry into another family felt worthless, painful, and hard to part with. But sending to Ancestor Lu was worth it. After a long conversation, the two family patriarchs left contentedly. A satisfied look also appeared on Ancestor Lu's face. The direct daughter brought by the Mo family patriarch was a 4th-grade spiritual root, which was indeed quite sincere. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know at report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 890, Gene Family Scheme, 3rd Advanced Level Draws Severing Spiritual Veins. The daughter sent by the ancestor of the Ning family only had a 6th-grade spiritual root, but she was one half of a pair of twins with exceptional beauty. For such a case, it was actually quite good. After all, to become a concubine of Lu ancestor, one not only needed decent spiritual root talent. They also had to be beautiful, obedient, sensible, and adept at winning people's favor. This made the options truly quite limited. Moreover, a middle-grade spiritual root, to most foundation establishment families, was already considered to be a rare talent. If the real ancestors blessed them with a top-grade spiritual root, how could they possibly send her to be someone else's concubine? Either send her off to a sect or cultivate her well in one's own home. Bihu Lake Mountain. These days, Bihu Lake Mountain was bustling with activity, with people coming and going. Many family forces friendly with and married into Bihu Lake Mountain, upon hearing the news, came to pay their respects and offer their congratulations. Source, web novel. Com, updated on Omicron New 0. After all, such a remarkable feat by Bihu Lake Mountain, it was only proper that these families offer their congratulations. Of course, in addition to congratulating, they also had their own motives. With Bihu Lake Mountain taking over White Tiger Mountain, naturally, many new deals and affairs would arise. They came to offer congratulations, show their face, and also sought to see if they could obtain some business cooperation, thereby getting a taste of the benefits. Since the establishment of Bihu Lake Mountain, families like the Su family of Shao Han Pool and the Ji family of Shao Jing Mountain, among the first batch to seek refuge and intermarry with the Lu family, had gained quite a bounty, strengthening their families. Nowadays, seeing an opportunity, they naturally flocked over. Apart from the smaller family forces, many loose cultivators also came to Bihu Lake Mountain, hoping to join. At this moment, a foundation establishment cultivator walked out from Bihu Lake Mountain, his expression somewhat bewildered. Where did Lu Mountain Lord find his Tao companion? Knowing our objectives are for matrimonial alliances, offering our granddaughters to Lu ancestor as concubines, she actually agreed delightedly, immediately accepting. And the look on her face, it didn't seem fake at all. This foundation establishment ancestor looked bewildered, feeling as if the world was a bit surreal. After learning about the affair of Bihu Lake Mountain and White Tiger Mountain and knowing Lu Mountain Lord fancied beauties and valued offspring, he planned to offer his own granddaughter as a concubine to Lu ancestor, hoping for more interaction between the two families. However, upon arriving at Bihu Lake Mountain, he learned that Lu Changxing was still on White Tiger Mountain and had not returned. He thought his journey would be in vain. Unexpectedly, Lu ancestor's Dao companion, Ling Zixiao, upon hearing the intention, directly accepted on behalf of her own Dao companion, leaving him utterly confused. After all, Foundation female cultivators were already fewer than male cultivators. Female cultivators looking for a Dao companion could easily find a male cultivator relatively superior to themselves. And this lady of the Lu family, Ling Zixiao, he had heard of her. Not only was she a Foundation establishment great cultivator, but she was also an array master. SEA the Novel Fire, any *T website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Truth be told, on any ordinary day upon seeing such a cultivator, he would have to behave with utmost courtesy. If one could marry such a female cultivator as a Dao companion, it would be as if their ancestors were blessed, living in fear of displeasing the other on any normal day. Yet, this Lu Mountain Lord not only continued to have numerous wives and concubines, but his Dao companion showed no jealousy in this matter, even helping her Dao companion take concubines. It was simply incomprehensible. Could it be, just because this Lu ancestor is so incredibly handsome? This Foundation establishment ancestor recalled seeing Lu Changxing at an auction in Red Leaf Valley early in his years. He had to admit, Lu ancestor's otherworldly handsome looks, with a stature and temperament like lofty pines and elegant orchids, truly seemed like a banished immortal. Otherwise, his own granddaughter would not have blushed and timidly let her grandfather decide everything about becoming a concubine. White Tiger Mountain. As Lu Changxing brought some of his own people from Bihu Lake Mountain, under the arrangements of Lu Chuanjun and Lu Yun, the power of the Zhao family patriarch was gradually stripped, leaving only a nominal position. And all cultivators of the Zhao family had taken a heart demon oath and signed a spiritual contract, completely submitting to the Lu family. It's just that many cultivators of the Zhao family, upon hearing about the family affairs and receiving the summons, chose not to obey the order to return to the family and instead vanished without a trace. After all, with such a major incident occurring on White Tiger Mountain, some of them were worried that the Lu family would turn treacherous and execute mass slaughter. So they chose to give up their Zhao family identity, live incognito, and become loose cultivators. Facing such situations, even Lu Changxing was powerless. For most family forces, this issue was considered insolvable. To completely control and wipe out every single one was too difficult. There would always be some fish that slipped through the net. But such fish that slipped through the net were considered harmless. To be able to, as recorded in historical tales, have one's family and clan destroyed, to find a stroke of luck while outside, and then become a great cultivator for revenge, was exceedingly rare. Or put another way, once entering the cultivation world and embarking on the path of cultivation, whether it is a loose cultivator walking the great Tao alone or a cultivator establishing family forces, one must be prepared for such outcomes. Artifact Refining Pool. Lu Changxing was having several Zhao family cultivators forge a magic artifact for him to sever spiritual veins. Although the Zhao family no longer had any second-rank artifact refiners, forging a few simple magic artifact components was still within their capabilities. Just then, abruptly, a system notification rang in Lu Changxing's mind. Congratulations to the host for reaching a progeny count of 200, you have been rewarded with one advanced level lottery draw, just as I thought. Upon hearing this system notification, Lu Changxing's heart skipped a beat, and a hint of joy flashed in his eyes. He had previously guessed that reaching 200 offspring might grant him an advanced level lottery draw. Now it seemed his guess was correct, and that child money had arrived as expected. I wonder what I will draw this time, muttered Lu Changxing to himself, full of anticipation. On his first advanced level draw, he obtained the 9 treasure jade rui. On the second advanced level draw, he gained the Mount Summer Tree King. Now with the third draw, he thought it wouldn't let him down either. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 891, Gene Family Scheme, 3rd Advanced Level Draw Severing Spiritual Veins. _4, if I could draw a suitable cultivation technique for myself, that would be fantastic, Lu Changxing thought to himself. He was currently cultivating the 7 Luminaries' Great Freedom Sword Scripture, which belonged to the top-level techniques. But through Hong Lian and Su Ruian's cultivation of beast techniques, he knew that there were techniques at even higher levels than orthodox level in this world. If he could cultivate such techniques, it would be of significant help to his future cultivation. However, these kinds of techniques were rare in the world, and even Hong Lian had only heard a bit about them and obtained a beast technique. Now, the only possibility he had to obtain such a high-level technique was through the system. Without giving it much thought, under the respectful and fearful gazes of several cultivators, Lu Changxing walked out of the Zhao family's forge pool and came to the peak of a mountain, silently chanting, "System, draw." Instantly, the advanced level lucky draw roulette appeared, and golden light started to spin. A moment later, the golden light paused and stopped on the heavenly and earthly treasures reward column. Ding! Congratulations, host, you've obtained an exotic treasure, Myriad Spirits Bottle. Reward has been deposited in the system space, host can check at any time. A small cylindrical bottle with a slender neck, emerald green as jade, emerged from the draw platform, accompanied by a system notification sound. Exotic treasure, Myriad Spirits Bottle? Lu Changxing raised his eyebrows. Although it wasn't the technique he wanted, he was still quite appreciative of the exotic treasure. After all, the 3 major exotic treasures he had obtained from previous draws, the Book of Malevolent Curses and Fates, Profound Origin Bead, and Misty Sky Bead, were all quite good. Except for the Book of Malevolent Curses and Fates, the other 2 had been quite helpful to him. Especially the Profound Origin Bead. Lu Changxing's mental spirit stirred slightly, and he looked towards the system space. Myriad Spirits Bottle, Grade, 5th Rank, Description, the treasure of Greenwood Valley's sect, initially created by the founder, Elder Qingmu, after observing a Xiantian treasure, greatly assists in nurturing spirit grass and spiritual medicine. 5th rank, and it's greatly helpful for nurturing spirit grass and spiritual medicine. Is this Greenwood Valley some kind of spiritual plant master sect, using such an item as their sect's treasure? Lu Changxing looked at the description of the Myriad Spirits Bottle in front of him, frowning. He felt that the reward he had received was somewhat disappointing. After pondering for a moment, he came to a cave mansion and took the Myriad Spirits Bottle out of the system space. Immediately, a palm-sized, emerald green bottle emerged in his hand, radiating a faint jade light, and decorated with several leaf-shaped patterns. The material of this bottle was unknown. Seeming like jade but not jade, like gold but not gold, like stone but not stone, like wood but not wood, its material was unclear, heavy in hand, exuding an ancient and abundant aura. Myriad Spirits Heaven Dew, 1 drop condenses every year, a single drop grants 100 years of growth. Lu Changxing, now aware of the specific effect of the Myriad Spirits Bottle, was surprised. Just as the system description indicated, this Myriad Spirits Bottle was greatly helpful in nurturing spirit grass and spiritual medicine. The little bottle could absorb the essence of heaven and earth on its own, condensing a liquid called Myriad Spirits Heaven Dew inside. This Myriad Spirits Heaven Dew could be used to nurture spirit plants. For just planted spirit grass or spiritual medicine, a single drop could make them grow into 100-year-old spiritual medicine within a few days. 400-year-old spiritual medicine, or particularly rare and difficult to cultivate spirit grass or spiritual medicine, the effect was somewhat lesser. But a single drop could still make them grow 60 to 70 years. For 1,000-year-old grade medicines, the effect would be even less, adding only about 30 to 50 years of growth. But regardless, this Myriad Spirits Bottle was indeed tremendously helpful for nurturing spirit grass and spiritual medicine. One could say that with this Myriad Spirits Bottle, there was no lack of century-old or millennium-old spiritual medicine. This Myriad Spirits Bottle is effective on all spirit plants. Does this mean I can use it to nurture Mount Sumru, as well as the luminous treasure tree, auspicious tree, abyssal ghoul blossom? In that case, even if my family spirit land hasn't reached 3rd rank, the spirit plants could grow quickly, thereby rapidly advancing Yunar, Xinjian, and Wanhuan's heaven and earth longevity technique? Lu Changxing paused, thinking about Mount Sumra Tree King and his 3 wives at home. The Mount Sumra Tree King was currently just maintaining growth, with practically no improvement in its cultivation. Although Lu Miaoyun had made a breakthrough in 9th level energy refinement thanks to the heaven and earth longevity technique, due to the limited conditions of the family's spirit land, the growth of the luminous treasure tree was too slow, potentially taking decades to break through to foundation establishment. But this myriad spirits heaven dew from the myriad spirits bottle could allow spirit plants to achieve 100 years of growth within just a few days. Even though the effect on such 3rd rank spirit plants as the Mount Sumra ancient tree and the luminous treasure tree would be diminished, it could still result in decades of growth. Looking at it this way, this myriad spirits bottle is not bad, deserving the status of a sect treasure. Moreover, if I acquire any rare spirit plant, I can rely on this myriad spirits bottle to mature it rapidly, even mass produce it. Lu Changxing looked at the green bottle in his hand, his eyes slightly narrowed, silently pondering. He felt this myriad spirits bottle was still a treasure, worth his advanced level lucky draw. However, it doesn't even come with a single drop of myriad spirits heaven dew to start off, which is rather thoughtless. Lu Changxing remarked, somewhat speechless as he finished examining the myriad spirits bottle. Gathering myriad spirits heaven dew was quite simple. As long as it was placed outside, it would automatically absorb the heaven and earth essence and condense myriad spirits heaven dew. He didn't need to do anything himself. But the thought of waiting a year to see the effect truly made Lu Changxing a bit uncomfortable. A month later, the magic artifacts needed by Lu Changxing to sever the spiritual vein origin were finally ready. He and Lu Miaoga came to the spiritual spring at White Tiger Mountain. Sister Miaoga, I have a secret technique that can sever the origin source of a spirit vein, used for nurturing and upgrading other spirit veins. I am planning to sever part of the origin source of the White Tiger Mountain spirit vein to cultivate the Bai Lake Mountain spirit vein. Keep watch outside for me, and don't let anyone disturb me. Chapter 892, Gene Family Scheme, 3rd Advanced Level Draws Severing Spiritual Veins. _5 Lu Changxing said to his wife, Lu Miaoga. Though he dared to multitask with alchemy and talisman making, he wouldn't dare to act recklessly when it came to severing a spirit vein, thus, he called upon Lu Miaoga to act as his protector. Severing the origin source of a spirit vein. Lu Miaoga's beautiful face slightly froze, hearing of such a shocking and unconventional method for the first time. She didn't ask further and immediately nodded, all right, Changxing, rest assured. Origin Spirit Pupillary Art. Lu Changxing performed the Origin Spirit Pupillary Art, his eyes shooting out 2 purple lights, hoping to thoroughly understand the details of the spirit vein. Severing a spirit vein wasn't something to be undertaken lightly, a precise location on the spirit vein had to be chosen. After investigating the general situation through the Origin Spirit Pupillary Art, Lu Changxing slapped his storage bag and the True Yang 5 Elements sword appeared. Clang! Lu Changxing wielded his flying sword, planning to pierce through the ground. This spiritual spring was located right beneath the cave mansion. Although Lu Changxing had disabled the formation's prohibitions of the mansion, the ground was still covered with a layer of some unknown metal. Had it not been for Lu Changxing's exceptional cultivation level, an ordinary foundation establishment cultivator would have really struggled to break through this metallic floor. Clang, 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 the continuous metallic clang echoed throughout the cave mansion. It took almost an hour before Lu Changxing managed to break through the thick metallic foundation of the ground. Damn it, in the future, I should always carry a shovel or hoe-type artifact with me, otherwise, this is just too troublesome and wears out the flying sword too much. Lu Changxing exhaled deeply, feeling that using a flying sword for such laborious tasks was truly too strenuous. Yet, he couldn't very well allow others to do this sort of hard labor. After contemplating for a moment, he took out Jin Zan's life-bound spiritual artifact from the storage ring to use as a shovel. At this moment, the utility of Mr. Lu's quasi-third-order body refining shone. Just like this, Lu Changxing mined while checking the spirit vein's condition through the origin spirit pupillary art, finally locating the White Tiger Mountain spirit vein. This spirit vein looked like a pyramid-shaped massive rock layer, spreading its radiance throughout the entire White Tiger Mountain, with 3 small first-grade spirit veins branching alongside. A spirit vein could also be considered a type of heavenly and earthly treasure. Throughout endless years, for various reasons, it slowly formed by aggregating the essence of heaven and earth, referred to by dragon seekers as the spirit of mountains and rivers. The spirit of mountains and rivers was very special. Once formed, it would continuously generate spiritual energy. However, it grew incredibly slowly and couldn't be moved even a fraction of an inch. During the time, if there were any changes to the terrain of mountains and rivers, it would affect the spirit of mountains and rivers, thereby affecting the entire spirit land. Sigh. Lu Changxing looked at the spirit vein before him, and after confirming the situation, he sat down to meditate and adjust his state. The act of severing the origin source of a spirit vein couldn't be taken lightly. Any mishap could potentially ruin the entire spirit vein. Had he not gained a complete and advanced level in the second-order dragon-seeking technique, as if he had experienced countless battles and was extremely skilled, he wouldn't dare to try this lightly. Subdue mountains and rivers. Lu Changxing produced a compass in his hand, made a gesture incantation, and sent the compass flying. The compass displayed an earthy yellow luster, enveloping the entire pyramid-shaped rock layer. Then, he slapped his storage bag. Whoosh, 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 black nail talismans were controlled by Lu Changxing and inserted into the origin source of the spirit vein. The spiritual energy dissipation from White Tiger Mountain was noticeably slower. Lu Changxing's expression was serious as he focused intently, directing spells at each of the black nail talismans. After a long while, the pyramid-shaped massive rock layer was wrapped in an earthy yellow luster, making the spirit vein seem as if it were slumbering, with no spiritual energy leaking out. Origin Spirit Intercept Vein Technique. Immediately, Lu Changxing saw this and released a tri-footed round cauldron above the spirit vein, continuously forming gesture incantations with his hands. Buzz, 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 the spirit vein, resembling a giant rock layer, seemed to tremble at this moment, with spiritual energy shaking and spilling out, causing the entire terrain of White Tiger Mountain to seem to vibrate. Faced with this situation, Lu Changxing was also a bit nervous. Nevertheless, after the spirit vein trembled for a moment, the tri-footed round cauldron, glowing with an ancient luster, merged into the massive rock layer. Seeing this scene, Lu Changxing breathed a sigh of relief. He didn't relax, remaining focused on the situation before him, and kept sending out spells from his hands. In this manner, time passed little by little. Several days later. Chi! Lu Changxing let out a soft shout, directing spell after spell at the spirit vein. The tri-footed round cauldron that had blended into it slowly re-emerged from the spirit vein. It was visible that the interior of the previously empty tri-footed round cauldron now contained a small rock layer that resembled the spirit vein. It's done. A look of joy emerged in Lu Changxing's eyes. Retrieve. With a soft shout, he formed gesture incantations with his hands and slowly retrieved the tri-footed round cauldron. Then, he repeated the steps, pulling out each of the black nail talismans that had been driven into the spirit vein. As he did so, the spirit vein of White Tiger Mountain began to disperse spiritual energy once again. However, the concentration of spiritual energy was clearly inferior compared to before. The spirit vein of White Tiger Mountain was almost advancing towards a second-order superior quality, but now, even maintaining a second-grade medium quality seemed forced. Chapter 893, Marriage Alliance, Cultivating the Spirit Vein. Changxing, how is it? Lu Miaoge saw Lu Changxing walking out of the cave mansion, her beautiful eyes full of tender concern. She was here, faintly sensing the changes in the spirit vein. Knowing that Lu Changxing wanted to intercept the origin source of the spirit vein, it was certainly not easy. The great task is accomplished. Lu Changsheng looked at his wife's gentle and beautiful face and laughed out loud. As he spoke, he gently lifted his palm, and a tri-footed bronze cauldron wrapped in earthy yellow luster appeared. Is this the origin source of the spirit vein inside? Lu Miaoge looked at the small cauldron, her beautiful eyes filled with surprise and curiosity. She knew about the spirit vein but had never seen what it looked like and did not know what the origin source of a spirit vein was. Or rather, most people knew about spirit veins but could not articulate what a spirit vein was. Yes, this is the origin source of the spirit vein that I intercepted from White Tiger Mountain. Lu Changsheng nodded and explained the principle to her. Changsheng, how much impact will this interception of the spirit vein have on White Tiger Mountain? Lu Miaoge asked gently. Intercepting a spirit vein was a matter of great significance. If other families knew, they would all be wary. There will be an impact, but it won't be too severe. The spirit vein of White Tiger Mountain was about to advance to second-order superior, now it barely maintains at second-grade medium quality. Currently, the Zhao family has no foundation establishment cultivators. They might notice, but it won't be very obvious. Lu Changsheng said so. Since he had intercepted the spirit vein, he naturally considered this aspect. Just barely maintaining second-order middle-grade spirit vein. Lu Miaoge nodded slightly. This level of spirit vein was enough for one family. Moreover, given the current situation of the Zhao family, they did not have much demand for the spirit vein. Now that the matter is almost handled, I'll leave this place under Quanzhen's management. Let us first return to Bihu Mountain. Lu Changsheng put away the small cauldron and said aloud. Now that the situation at White Tiger Mountain was stable and the spirit vein was intercepted, he naturally planned to return. During these days, the rumors about him, White Tiger Mountain, and Golden Dragon Ridge had grown bizarre, and there were also some alliance matters that needed to be addressed by him as the old ancestor. Okay. Lu Miaoge replied softly. Immediately, the two went to the main hall of White Tiger Mountain and called all their children. Chuanjun, you take responsibility for White Tiger Mountain, and I temporarily entrust Joyo to you. Should there be any problems or situations, contact me immediately. If forces from Golden Dragon Ridge or other powers, including robber cultivators, come to cause trouble, you must use a talisman to escape immediately. Do not engage them. Lu Changsheng looked at his son Lu Chuanjun and instructed. He was very relieved to have his son, Lu Chuanjun, in charge of White Tiger Mountain. As for the Jin family of Golden Dragon Ridge, it was practically impossible for them to suddenly act against White Tiger Mountain. Should such a situation arise, Lu Chuanjun could also escape immediately using a talisman. Yes, father. Lu Chuanjun, clothed in a black brocade robe and with a clear and distinct face, bowed and replied. Just delegate the work to others. You should mainly focus on cultivation. If the Zhao family dares any malice, just kill them. Lu Changsheng patted his son's shoulder and spoke softly. Even though all members of the Zhao family had taken the Heart Demon Oath and signed a spiritual contract. But whether it was a Heart Demon Oath or a spiritual contract, the binding power was limited for those cultivators who didn't care for the Great Tao and were not afraid of death. After all, spending their life this way, they weren't afraid of death. The mere spiritual contract and oath, what restraint could they provide? Although Lu Changsheng had means such as the divine forbidding talisman, these people were simply not worth spending such means on. Please rest assured, father, your son understands. Lu Chuanjun, with a clear and distinct smile and a gentle arch of his brows, replied with a touch of humor in his eyes. Beside him, Lu Yun listened to his father's words, recalling the conversations he had with Lu Chuanjun these days. His father had come from being a mere son-in-law to the incredible position he held today in only tens of years, naturally not just superficially gentle and elegant. Or rather, his gentleness was reserved for family and close ones, but he was not the same with outsiders. Yuner, Caizhen, Qing Song, let's go. Lu Changsheng called out to several of his children. Immediately, they boarded the spirit boat and returned to Bihu Mountain. Safe travels to the mountain master. Safe travels to the old ancestor. At the mountain gate, a cultivator from the Lu family and 2 from the Zhao family immediately saluted Lu Changsheng respectfully. One day later, Lu Changsheng and his party returned to Bihu Mountain. With his return, the family was instantly filled with joy. After all, this matter was a great celebration for Bihu Mountain. Now that they had triumphantly returned, naturally, a grand celebration was due. Lord, Father, Daddy. One by one, the concubines with their children came forward to congratulate Lu Changsheng. Many of them didn't understand much, nor the implications and consequences of Bihu Mountain taking over White Tiger Mountain. All they knew was that their husband, their father was formidable, and the family had grown stronger. Very good, very good. Lu Changsheng faced such a scene with a smile, laughing heartily. It had to be said, every time he saw his wives and children looking at him with admiration and warmth, congratulating him, his heart felt wonderfully at ease. The path of cultivation is lonely, what a solitary existence it would be. Only with profound love can one comfort the world, constantly having people by your side, caring, supporting, and joining in pursuing the great Tao, can I always have the persistence and motivation to diligently cultivate and seek eternal life. Lu Changsheng murmured to himself, feeling a sense of clarity in his thoughts. In his early years, he knew the hardships of the world yet promised profound love to comfort people. A path warmed by the sun, a cultivation journey shared together. If the path of cultivation were accompanied only by loneliness, indeed the heights would be unbearably cold. My lord, moments later, Ling Zixiao learned of Lu Changsheng's return and came over holding her daughter. Chapter 894, Marriage Alliance, Cultivating the Spirit Vein. Bai Ling acted as a junior attendant, cradling Lu Lingxiao at her side. Ever since Ling Zixiao gave birth to the twins, Bai Ling had taken on an additional job, helping Ling Zixiao care for the children. So many? Lu Changsheng was slightly startled upon hearing Ling Zixiao's words. He had spent these recent days on White Tiger Mountain, receiving congratulations from numerous family forces. They hoped to establish friendly relations, forging connections that would last for a century. But there had only been 4 families in total, bringing 5 concubines. Yet Ling Zixiao indicated that, during this time, a total of 10 families had come to pay their respects and offer congratulations, wishing to have their own descendants serve the Lu ancestor. Not too many, there are also some small families, forces, as well as loose cultivators that admire the Lu Mountain Lord and want to recommend themselves, but they were tactfully rejected by me. Dressed in a lake blue palace dress, her figure full and shapely, her face dignified and beautiful, Ling Zixiao said with a smile that was not quite a smile, "My lord wouldn't blame me, would he? What are you saying? Just let Zixiao and you handle it." Although the Lu ancestor felt this was good news, he naturally would not show too much happiness at this time. Immediately after, the group began discussing this matter. They ultimately decided that 1 month later, Lu Changsheng would directly hold a grand wedding ceremony, taking these daughters of the families as concubines. This not only showed goodwill towards these families, it would also serve as an opportunity to discuss cooperative matters with these families in further detail. My lord, the rumors in the outside world are growing more and more outrageous, even claiming that you and Miaoga, working together, are comparable to a false core and that your talisman formation skills are strong enough to slay a false core. Although many know this news is likely a rumor spread by the Jin family and other families, they still feel apprehension after hearing it, Ling Zixiao continued to say to Lu Changsheng. Lu Changsheng fell silent for a moment. Initially, when he heard this news, he wondered how the Jin family knew his secret. Could it be that the Jin family also had the art of divination and inference? However, after some thinking, he realized that the Jin family was deliberately setting him up, raising him high with this tactic to restrict the development of his own family. After all, there was only so much cake to go around. If one family force wanted to rise, they necessarily had to take the cake from others. By Lake Mountain displaying such astonishing combat power at this time, it would not be possible to limit themselves just to Bai Lake Mountain and White Tiger Mountain alone. They were bound to encroach on the power of other family forces. Faced with this situation, other families all felt a sense of crisis. This was also why so many family forces had come to By Lake Mountain to show their goodwill. Because it was no longer just about the surrounding family forces. Many family forces far from By Lake Mountain had also come to probe their attitudes, to understand the situation. We don't need to care about these messages, we just have to keep a low profile for now in our family. Regarding White Tiger Mountain, my plan is to hand it over to the Ning family, Mo family, and several smaller neighboring families. This way, even if White Tiger Mountain encounters any accident, we would not suffer much loss. It also tells the world that my reason for taking down White Tiger Mountain was not for the expansion of family forces, but indeed due to the grievances between the two tribes. Lu Changxing spoke, conveying his general thoughts. His family's biggest difference from other family forces was that they did not need to develop the family through too much aggression and territorial expansion. As long as they maintained their base, with enough time, once the children grew up, the family would be made. So for now, they could let go of the benefits of White Tiger Mountain. It also showed the world an image of being harmless. But truth be told, if it hadn't been for the incident with his daughter Lu Rui, even if his family's spirit land was indeed somewhat insufficient, Lu Changxing would not have chosen to seize and occupy spirit lands. After all, such a matter had become a noisy issue, which didn't fit with his family's development tone. All right. Ling Zixiao and Lu Miaoyun nodded in agreement, and then Lu Changxing gave his son Lu Yun a few instructions. He had long instructed him about this matter, but some of the things discussed just now needed to be handled by his son, the family head. Like the matter of the concubine wedding. At this time, Li Feiyu saw that Lu Changsheng's conversation was nearly finished, and came over to inquire about the situation. Upon learning that the matter was at a pause and there was nothing significant, he bid farewell and prepared to return to Azure Phoenix Immortal City. He had originally come back just to have a look at his family and make a clean break, before dedicating his heart to pursuing the Great Tao. It just so happened that the White Tiger Mountain incident occurred, and he had been stationed at By Lake Mountain just in case any dangerous situations arose. Now that the matter was concluded, he naturally hurried back to take up his post. Lu Changxing was silent for a moment upon hearing this. Then, with a smile on his face, he patted his sturdy shoulder and said, "All right, Feiyu, take care on your journey. I wish you soar high and enjoy eternal vitality on the immortal path." Knowing his friend had a firm Tao heart, he did not attempt to persuade him. Keep these talismans with you, they might be of some help should you encounter any danger. Lu Changxing took out 10 second-tier top-grade talismans and 3 third-rank talismans and handed them to Li Feiyu. "This, Changxing, this is too precious. I've already received many benefits from you on this return visit, I can't take any more." Although Li Feiyu could not immediately see the exact grade of the talismans, he could tell they were of very high quality. On this visit, he had acquired the body-refining techniques, Earth Fiend Holding Heaven skill. He had also obtained 3 spiritual artifacts from White Tiger Mountain. Feeling already deeply indebted to Lu Changxing and unable to repay him, he was unwilling to accept more benefits. "You will face dangers in Azure Phoenix Immortal City, better keep them. At worst, consider it a debt, and when you have the means, you can repay me. Or someday, when my family expands its business to Azure Phoenix Immortal City, I might need you to take good care of me." Lu Changxing spoke with a laugh. He knew Li Feiyu was very proud at heart and did not like owing too much to others. Chapter 895, Marriage Alliance, Cultivating the Spirit Vein. Like before, although the other party only had 1 spiritual artifact, they still conjured up 10,000 spirit stones to give to him. "Okay, but there's no need for so many, 1 or 2 life-saving talismans will suffice." "If there are too many, I'm afraid it'll lack a sense of danger," Li Feiyu said with a wry smile. He felt that his good brother was being too generous. Eventually, Lu Changxing gave Li Feiyu 3 second-tier top-level talismans and 1 third-rank talisman. As for the substitute talisman, never mind. On one hand, the substitute talisman was too precious, and he didn't have many. Moreover, Li Feiyu had long been mingling in the Myriad Beasts mountain range, and this talisman was really not suitable for him. After all, he might not be as lucky as before. A careless moment could possibly see him transferred into a demon king's lair. The two chatted leisurely for a long time, then Li Feiyu left by Lake Mountain. During this time, Lu Changxing asked Li Feiyu to bid on special monster cores, third-rank spiritual wood, demon beast blood, and other rare spiritual materials for him if he encountered them in Azure Phoenix Immortal City. Azure Phoenix Immortal City was close to the Myriad Beasts mountain range and was a sacred place for loose cultivators. Occasionally, some rare heavenly and earthly treasures would appear on the market. It was relatively easier and cheaper to collect some materials here. After a busy day, Lu Changxing returned to the summit of Blue Cloud Peak. He placed the Myriad Spirits bottle on the tall and handsome Mount Sumru tree, which was golden and jade all over. He left it to Mount Sumru to take care of the Myriad Spirits bottle for him. The Myriad Spirits bottle had to absorb the essence of heaven and earth autonomously in the outside world, and condense the Myriad Spirits' heaven dew. Carrying it with him would be somewhat inconvenient. If left carelessly outside, it might be taken away by mischievous children any day. Therefore, placing it atop Blue Cloud Peak under Mount Sumru's watchful eye, he was very assured. Deep night. Changxing Hall. Afterward. Zixiao, you've worked hard during these days. On the exquisitely luxurious white jade bed, Lu Changxing wrapped his arms around Ling Zixiao's plump and soft waist, his hand gently caressing her fair and gorgeous skin, and spoke warmly. Ling Zixiao's elegantly pinned-up hair during the day was now messily draped, her dignified beautiful face flushed as fire, her bright beautiful eyes slightly watery, carrying a hint of seductive allure, and she softly chuckled, "My lord, save those sweet words for little Linger." While speaking, her slender hand lightly pinched the full chest of Bai Ling, who was beside her, her body curvaceous and seeming to be wrapped in a scale armor soft clothing, her skin flushed with a rosy glow. Not only did Lu Changxing find Bai Ling's skin irresistible, especially after, her originally cold white golden scales gradually emitted a dreamlike rosy shimmer. The feel was warm, smooth, silky, and resilient yet strong. The touch was even more comfortable and delightful than Lu Miayage's soft skin like water. Even in front of Lu Miaoge, the two were somewhat reserved, not as carefree and relaxed as they were with the timid and weak Xiao Bai Ling, Sister Ling. Bai Ling's beautifully delicate face was flushed, her peach blossom-like eyes misty as if drunken, intoxicated, and dreamily enraptured. But her such feeble and delicate appearance stoked Ling Zixiao's primal desires, yearning to ravage her. Her heart couldn't help but sigh. Her lover indeed had great fortune, to have picked up a girl like Bai Ling in a random small village he passed by. The more she interacted, the clearer she realized the extraordinary demon race bloodline within Bai Ling. Initially, she had seen Lu Changxing and Nangong Mili. She felt that Nangong Mili was indeed demonically beautiful and seductive, making even her, a woman, unable to resist being astonished and moved. But unlike Bai Ling, who could stir her primal desires. For a moment, she wondered, if that true person Nangong and Bai Ling shared a bed, which of the two would be more enticing? Little Linger surely worked hard as well. Lu Changxing turned his head toward Bai Ling, as enchanting as a blooming peach tree, and pulled her smooth, soft body into his arms, gently saying, "If it weren't for little Linger holding fort at home, how could I be at ease?" "Brother," Bai Ling's voice trembled a bit as she spoke, filled with a stirring allure. Although she knew that Lu Changxing's words were just to please her, and that she hadn't been able to help with anything at home, hearing these words still spawned a surge of happiness and contentment in her heart. As Lu Changxing and Bai Ling whispered sweet nothings, intertwining intimately for a moment, he then embraced Ling Zixiao and spoke out, "Zixiao, this trip outside was quite lucky for me. I've acquired a spiritual eye spring." Spiritual eye spring. Ling Zixiao couldn't help but exclaim. After all, something like the spiritual eye spring was exceedingly rare. At first, when Lu Changxing managed to bring out a spiritual eye spring, it was already surprising. Unexpectedly, he had found another spiritual eye spring at the Wu Jing mine site. Indeed, however, this spiritual eye spring isn't as grand as the one at home. If used to create a spiritual vein, I estimate it's only a first-grade top level. Moreover, through Hong Lian, I learned that the dragon seekers have a method to extract the spirit vein origin, so, Lu Changxing continued. He looked at Ling Zixiao for any suggestions on how to distribute this spiritual eye spring and its origin. My lord, I think there's no need to further cultivate the spiritual vein at Baiyun Peak. It might be better to use this spiritual eye spring to create a new spiritual vein in Cave Heaven. Then, by utilizing the spirit vein origin, elevate the Cave Heaven spirit vein to second order. After pondering for a moment, Ling Zixiao voiced her suggestion. Hee, Zixiao, you think just like I do. Lu Changxing kissed her slender, swan-like neck and chuckled softly. He had also thought before, now Baiyun Peak's spiritual vein was a second-order superior. Even if upgraded to a second-order top level by the spiritual eye spring, reaching the third order would still be far off. Plus, once the spiritual vein advanced to the third order, it would certainly lead to significant geographical changes and considerable commotion. In case of a power struggle, the opponents could completely destroy Bai Lake Mountain's earth pulse and spiritual vein through formations. Given this, it might be better to fully upgrade Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven. Mount Sumeru could evolve its internal world by growing, but likewise, it could also nourish itself through its internal world, accelerating its growth. Moreover, cultivating the spiritual vein within Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven need not worry about being exposed or sabotaged. However, my lord could also consider using the current spiritual spring in the Cave Heaven to create a spiritual vein, and cultivate another spiritual vein in Bai Lake Mountain from the other spiritual eye spring. Ling Zixiao continued to speak, voicing another idea. Now, with the development of Bai Lake Mountain, the number of loose cultivators and apprentices was increasing. If this continues, the surrounding area of Lake Heart Island would gradually become insufficient. Moreover, now that Bai Lake Mountain had soured relations with Golden Dragon Ridge, should the two forces clash, it would indeed be troublesome. Though assured by the Mount Sumeru Tree King's presence, under the public eye, it was still preferable not to involve Mount Sumeru. Now with the conditions met, they could consider cultivating a branch spirit vein. Not only would this elevate the family spirit land, but it could also further upgrade the family's great formation. By that time, even without the Mount Sumeru Illusion Sky Great Formation, Bai Lake Mountain could rely on the ordinary family Great Formation to suppress false cores and repel core formation. Cultivating another spiritual vein, a trace of contemplation crossed Lu Changsheng's mind. He felt that continuing to develop Bai Lake Mountain as their base was indeed necessary. Chapter 896. The Ancestor has taken yet another concubine. 1 month later. Lu Changsheng's concubine acceptance ceremony began. The ceremony was extremely lively. Guests traveled from thousands of miles away to offer their congratulations. Sigh, seeing Lu Ancestor, I now understand the motivation for cultivation. I heard that Lu Ancestor already has more than 40 concubine rooms, and now he's taking on 15 more at once. TSK, 15 concubine rooms at once. Lu Ancestor truly is blessed with women, such a decadent lifestyle, yet his cultivation level progresses at an astonishing pace. I'm not convinced. Lu Changxing must be practicing the energy drain technique. I want to report him to the Qingyun sect. If Lu Ancestor were practicing the energy drain technique, how could he have so many children and spend so many resources raising them? That's right, this Lu Ancestor probably just genuinely loves women and wants to have children, as the rumors say, intending to create a family clan by himself. I heard that among the 15, Lin Xingyu from the Lin family not only has extraordinary talent but is also incredibly beautiful. Woo, Yenner, how can I live without you? Among the guests, many voiced their emotions, admiring, envying, and resenting Lu Changsheng's lifestyle. In these 15 concubine rooms, aside from a pair of twins from the Ning family, the others all came from different powerful family clans, from direct lineages, the pride of their families. Now they had all married Lu Changxing as concubines, naturally causing countless people to be green with envy. Especially for those men whose family women, known for their looks and talent, had many admirers, secret lovers, and suitors. Finding out that their goddesses, the women they loved, had married Lu Changxing as concubines, they couldn't help but grieve sorrowfully. Biyun Villa. This villa, used as a guest villa, was renovated and expanded in advance. With carved beams and painted rafters, it was magnificent and spacious enough to accommodate nearly 1,000 people. Reception staff, guests, and maids continuously moved in and out. After all, the main theme of this event was not the wedding and concubine acceptance. The main affair was meetings with many families to discuss various matters and to manifest the stance of the Blue Lake Mountain. Ironwood Forest, Mo family patriarch arrives. Green Lawn Estate, Lin family patriarch arrives. Treasure Elixir Pavilion, he the steward arrives. Outside the villa, resounding calls announced the arrival of guests who came to offer congratulations. Gifts of heavenly and earthly treasures, envied by energy-refining cultivators, were presented. Dad, Green Lawn Mountain hosts 2 foundation establishment great cultivators. Is it really necessary to marry Miaoyu to this Lu ancestor as a concubine? In a corner of the villa, a young man in brocade robes whispered resentfully to his father. Shut up, keep your petty thoughts to yourself. If you dare speak like that again, I'll break your legs. The middle-aged man immediately scolded upon hearing his son's words. Knowing that his son harbored a secret love for one of the women about to become Lu ancestor's concubines. He then turned to a beautiful woman beside him and kindly said, if Lu ancestor comes out later, uncle will take you to toast him. You must perform well and seize the opportunity. If Lu ancestor takes a liking to you, it would be good for both you and the Lu family. After all, Lu ancestor is not only handsome but also values relationships deeply, even if as a servant. If he favored you and you bore him a Chilan child, you could later be promoted to concubine, the middle-aged man instructed his niece earnestly. Although Lu ancestor was taking 15 as concubines this time. For the many family powers attending the wedding, it wasn't much. Thus, many smaller family powers also wanted to send their daughters or younger family members to Lu ancestor as concubines or servants. At this moment, such conversations were happening in many places inside and outside Biyun Villa. After all, the reputation of Blue Lake Mountain and White Tiger Mountain, after the incidents at Jinzan, had significantly risen, spreading throughout the entire Qingyun region. Most of the family powers and cultivators in Qingyun region had heard of the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family and knew the big names of Lu family ancestor Lu Changsheng and Lady Lu Miaoga. Before this, although Blue Lake Mountain Lu family was somewhat famous, it was mostly just hearsay without deep understanding. Many even knew of the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family because of Lu Changsheng's fondness for marrying and taking concubines, known for a household full of children. But as the news from Blue Lake Mountain, White Tiger Mountain, and Golden Dragon Ridge spread, all family powers gained a clear understanding of Lu Changsheng. Though his talent was poor, his comprehension was exceptional. He had great fortunes and was considered a carrier of great destiny. A future overlord of Qingyun region. Coveting female beauty and loving the practice of taking concubines. Being of common peasant origin, he held the deeply rooted notion of being blessed with many children and a full house. Such a person's strengths and flaws were both very obvious. Thus, everyone was willing to form good relations with Blue Lake Mountain and to ally through marriage. However, many were shocked to hear of Lu ancestors' life and deeds, learning that Lu Changsheng, in just a few decades, had achieved what other families took a century to, creating a cultivation family by himself. They marveled at how Lu ancestor was truly insane, one of a kind. However, many cultivation families could understand this. Because through rumors, they knew that Lu ancestor had great encounters and opportunities, but his spiritual root talent was poor, merely low quality. Practically cutting off any possibility of achieving core formation. In the future, at most depending on external elixirs, he could form a false core. Thus, he sought to extend his life, bloodline, and spiritual legacy through such means early. Life and reproduction, passing down the torch continuously. Unable to pursue the great Tao for long life, he sought to extend his spirit through bloodline descendants and family heritage, aiming to leave a mark in history. Chapter 897, the ancestor has taken yet another concubine. This is a traditional concept in the cultivation world. Many cultivation families hold this type of idea. Like the master-disciple relationship within sects, there is also a bit of this ideology. Apart from legacy, some even harbor thoughts. If an unparalleled figure, a great power, were to appear among their descendants, it could resurrect their long-dead ancestors, or perhaps when they themselves reincarnate, take a round. Inside the main hall, Lu Changsheng, clad in a blue spiritual robe, sat in the main seat. On either side of him were Lu Miaoge and Ling Zixiao, the main mothers. He was drinking and conversing jovially with several cultivators in the hall. To be seated here, one must either have a special identity or be a foundation establishment ancestor. Everyone who had come was also looking to gauge the attitude of Lu ancestor. Beast-taming Su family, Su Ruyan has arrived. At that moment, a voice announced from outside. Beast-taming Su family. Shu, the beast-taming Su family has also sent someone? Su Ruyan, I heard that this woman is a descendant of the Yu Shui line of the beast-taming Su family. She broke through to foundation establishment last year and upon returning to the main line, rose up like a comet. I didn't expect the other party to actually come to Bihu Mountain to present their congratulations. It must be because of the Yu Shui Su family. This genius from the Su family had old ties with Bihu Mountain. Inside the main hall and throughout the villa, many people immediately started discussing. Beast-taming Su family, Lu Changsheng and Ling Zixiao also paused slightly when they heard this. Although Yu Shui Su family is a branch of the beast-taming Su family, most of the time outside, it still claims to be the Yu Shui Su family, not the beast-taming Su family. Now that Su Ruyan is being introduced as from the beast-taming Su family, it indicates that she is not representing the Yu Shui Su family, but the beast-taming Su family itself. The implication here was significantly different. Immediately, a woman in a fiery red, gorgeous palace dress walked into the main hall. Her beauty was breathtaking, her long hair the same fiery red as her dress, quite striking. But what was most striking and attention-grabbing were her eyes, blazing like a red moon, intense as fire. These eyes made her already delicate face appear even more radiant and beautiful, complementing her porcelain white skin perfectly. She seemed like a noble and immaculate phoenix, holy yet majestic, cold yet proud. Beast-taming Su family, Su Ruyan offers congratulations to Lu Mountain Lord on this auspicious occasion. Su Ruyan bowed to Lu Changsheng. But as her head dropped slightly, her beautiful eyes trembled, stirring an indescribable emotion within her. Beside him stood a middle-aged man about 40 years old with a stern face, thick beard and hair, wearing a golden dragon-patterned magical robe. It was Jin Zan, the great elder of White Tiger Mountain, who had clashed against him the other day. Upon seeing Lu Changsheng, Jin Zan's eyes immediately revealed a hint of anger, his robe sleeve tightly fisted. However, he remained silent, merely standing beside his own family patriarch. Jin Sheng of Golden Dragon Ridge sends his congratulations on the great joy of Lu Mountain Lord and has specially come to ask for a wedding drink. The ancestor of Jin family, his face beaming red, spoke loudly as he bowed. Greetings to Elder Jin. It truly brings glory to have a true man like yourself attend my wedding, please join us. Lu Changsheng's expression remained unchanged as he bowed with a smile. He didn't know why the other party had come. But with Mount Sumera's protection, he was not afraid at all, unconcerned about any tricks they might play. After all, if he wanted, now the Mount Sumeru Illusion Sky Great Formation could be activated, which was powerful enough to slay all the Foundation establishment cultivators of Bai Lake Mountain, including this false core patriarch. TSK, all these great ancestors surely have great value. If I captured all in one net, I'd likely become fabulously wealthy. Lu Changsheng thought to himself with a chuckle. But that was just a thought. Doing so would likely cause a tremendous upheaval across the entire Qingyun domain and even the Jiang country cultivation world. The three of them transformed into escape lights and flew towards Biyun Villa. The Lu family disciples stationed nearby for reception heaved a sigh of relief. although the ancestor of Jin family had not exerted any pressure on them. Merely standing in front of them felt like a huge mountain, exerting great pressure. Not only them, but also the energy refining cultivators and foundation establishment cultivators outside Biyun Villa all stood up and bowed respectfully when they saw the ancestor of Jin family. After all, this was a false core patriarch. Not to mention under Qinjian's rule, even within the Jiang country cultivation realm, a false core immortal was considered a significant figure. At this very moment, everyone was wondering the purpose of the ancestor of Jin family's visit to Bai Lake Mountain. Especially some who knew Jin Zan, seeing this elder of Jin family who had past conflicts with Bai Lake Mountain also attending. Elder Jin, please take a seat. This carp soup is a special product of Bai Lake Mountain, and these carps are specially bred king carps from my Lu family, known for their delicious taste, Lu Changxing said politely with a smile on his face. As if the earlier confrontation with Jin Zan had never occurred. The old man came in a hurry this time. This gift, the ancestor of Jin family fumbled inside his golden robe with a frown. Elder Jin honors us with his presence at my wedding, which already brings us great honor. Seeing this, Lu Changxing remained entirely unconcerned. However, before Lu Changxing could finish, the ancestor of Jin family pulled out an exquisite brocade box from his sleeve and laughed loudly. Ha ha ha, why not give this item to Lu Mountain Master as a wedding gift? You don't think you're being funny, do you? Lu Changxing silently muttered to himself. He thought it was no wonder that some nascent soul immortals and nascent soul true lords in ancient texts were called quirky old creatures. Because the longer they lived, the quirkier their personalities became. His expression unmoved, he took the brocade box, stored it in his storage ring, and chuckled, "Thank you so much, Elder Jin. You are too kind. Master Lu, wouldn't you want to open it and see what gift the old man has brought?" After sitting down, the ancestor of Jin family picked up a piece of fish and started eating, speaking out. Chapter 898, Apologize and Make Amends, Beast Taming Sioux Family. What's the occasion for this gift? In the grand hall, the faces of everyone present showed a trace of shock upon hearing the words of the ancestor of the Jin family. The arrival of the Jin family's ancestor today had already surprised everyone in the hall, making them sense that there was a significant implication behind it. Now that he had brought a gift and insisted that Lu Changxing open it on the spot, there was definitely something fishy going on. Could there be some kind of assassin's tool hidden inside the gift? Some speculated silently among the crowd. After all, in the Jiang country cultivation realm, the ways to set a deadly trap were too numerous to count, and even a foundation establishment cultivator could easily fall victim if they were not careful. However, this person immediately dismissed the idea. This place was Blue Lake Mountain. If the Jin family's ancestor dared to do such a thing, it would mean a complete fallout with Blue Lake Mountain. Even if Lu Changxing was set aside, once the Blue Lake Mountain Great Formation was activated, it was likely that the Jin family's ancestor himself would suffer greatly, if not die. At the very least he would be badly injured. In this moment, everyone's eyes turned to Lu Changxing, curious to see what he would do, how he would respond. Hong Lian, Lu Changxing also wanted to know what tricks the Jin family's ancestor was up to. He consulted Hong Lian, who was in the ancient beast taming charm inside his sleeve. Although Hong Lian only had a soul, its divine sense was very keen, able to perceive many things he could not. Simultaneously, Lu Changxing secretly communicated with Mount Sumru. If this old fart dared to harbor any ill intentions, then he would immediately activate the Great Formation to suppress him. Young master, it seems to be some kind of heavenly and earthly treasure inside, with no prohibitory mechanisms. The voice of Hong Lian resonated in Lu Changxing's mind. A treasure? Hearing this, Lu Changxing was surprised. Could it be that this old man really came to give a gift? Assured that Mount Sumru was already remotely sensing and locking onto the location from Baiyun Peak, he spoke with a chuckle. Oh, in this case, the gift from Elder Jin seems to be quite extraordinary. Since that's the case, let someone open it here and see. Lu Changxing said this. As he spoke, he gently touched the jade box, inducing it to open by itself, revealing its content. Inside was a walnut-sized, pitch-black, diamond-shaped crystal stone that glimmered with a hazy sheen. The crystal stone seemed to possess life, pulsing and exhaling while water seemed to flow automatically within it, emanating a wave of cold air. What is? Suddenly, everyone in the hall turned their attention to the crystal stone in the jade box. Several Foundation establishment cultivators were visibly moved, gazing greedily at the crystal stone. Young master, this is the profound water-cold crystal, a core formation spiritual object. It can increase the chance of core formation by almost half, and it can also be used to temper true elixirs. Worried that Lu Changxing might not recognize the crystal stone, Hong Lian conveyed this message to Lu Changxing. A core formation spiritual object, the profound water-cold crystal? Lu Changxing looked at the jade box in his hand, his eyes narrowed slightly. He had not expected that this old fart really came to their door to present a gift. And to offer such a valuable gift at that. A core formation spiritual object. Through these years of seeking externally for core formation spiritual objects, he had come to understand their preciousness and rarity. In the Jiang country cultivation realm, an ordinary cultivator might still have hope of obtaining a foundation establishment elixir, as they occasionally appeared in the market. But a coagulation crystal elixir used to aid in core formation would almost never appear in the market. Even if one were to coincidentally gather the materials needed to make a coagulation crystal elixir. Apart from the great immortal sects and the guest elders and noble servants of the immortal cities, no one could make a coagulation crystal elixir. That's why there are so few loose cultivators and family clan members who can achieve core formation in the Jiang country cultivation realm. For loose cultivators, achieving core formation was exceedingly difficult. They could only travel around various nations seeking fortune or rely on core formation spiritual objects to chance upon the extremely slim possibility of forming a core. This also made the core formation spiritual objects that could improve one's chances of core formation rare and expensive. Many loose cultivators and family forces were willing to pay any price for a core formation spiritual object. After all, once they make the breakthrough into core formation, they could enjoy a lifespan of 500 years and could call themselves ancestors. Elder Jin's gift is far too precious. Lu Changxing looked at the ancestor of the Jin family, speaking with a calm expression. He was not clear about the other party's purpose of offering such a gift. This gift is not only to congratulate Lu Mountain Lord on your happiness but also to apologize to Lu Mountain Lord for the incident on White Tiger Mountain. The Jin family ancestor said playfully, taking a sip from his wine jug, the affair on White Tiger Mountain was unknown to my Jin family, and it was because of the imprudence of my descendants that we inadvertently caused friction between our two families. That's why on this trip, along with bringing him to address this matter in person, I wanted him to apologize to Lu Mountain Lord face to face, hoping to dissolve the enmity between our two families. The voice of the Jin family ancestor boomed. As he spoke, he glanced at Jin Zan beside him. Have you not yet apologized to Lu Mountain Lord? Hiss. 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 At this moment, everyone in the venue was shocked, stunned. They had never expected that the ancestor of the Jin family had come not to seek retaliation, but to offer an apology. Not only offering an incredibly precious core formation spiritual object, but also having Jin Zan, the great elder of the Jin family and a future core formation cultivator with a status much higher than almost all present, personally apologize to Lu Changxing. That was simply unthinkable. To think that Jin Zan, as a great elder of the Jin family with the potential for core formation and a status higher than almost all the cultivators present, could be offering an apology to Lu Changxing. Could it be that the rumors that the combined force of the Lu couple is comparable to that of a false core, and together with Lu Changsheng's talisman formation, they can suppress a false core immortal, are not rumors but the truth? That's why Elder Jin has brought Jin Zan here to apologize. This, considering the power of Blue Lake Mountain's Lu family, it seems that they might pose a greater threat than Golden Dragon Ridge. I had previously thought that, as long as we take out one member of the Lu couple while they are apart, the crisis would resolve itself. But if the rumors are true, the threat posed by the Lu couple might be even greater than that of Golden Dragon Ridge. If tens of years later, the Lu couple both break through to Foundation establishment late stage, they might be as powerful as those in core formation. At this moment, all the cultivators present were awestruck, a wave of speculation running through their minds. Chapter 899, Apology, Beast Taming Sioux Family. However, cultivators like Ling Zixiao, who knew the inside story, roughly guessed the Jin family's purpose. They wanted to both promote and kill, to completely eliminate Lu Changsheng and Bai Lake Mountain, to lift it high and solidify the rumors from the outside world. Even if they couldn't solidify the rumors, considering today's events, the external interest in Bai Lake Mountain would likely rise another level. Lu Mountain Lord, regarding the previous matter at White Tiger Mountain, Jin Zan, was wrong. Greed took over me because of the benefits given by the Zhao family, and I ask for your forgiveness, Jin Zan said, suppressing the rage in his heart as he bowed to Lu Changsheng. If it weren't for the family patriarch's emergence from seclusion and the severe reprimand he had received. With his proud nature, he would never have lowered his face to apologize. But he understood that the patriarch was doing this for his own good. His smooth journey thus far had led to arrogance. The defeat at the hands of Lu Changsheng was a hurdle he couldn't get over, affecting his core formation. If that was the case, he could only face his inner self, break and then stand, in order for him to break through his mental state and reach core formation. And through this method, he wanted to reclaim his life-bound spiritual artifact from Lu Changsheng's hands. Otherwise, without this life-bound spiritual artifact, his chances of breaking through to core formation in the future would be affected. Lu Changsheng watched the scene, staying silent. He roughly knew what the Jin family's purpose was. The rumors about him in the outside world likely originated from the Jin family. Now, by presenting him with this core formation spiritual object, they probably wanted to further uplift his status and solidify the rumors. And inform the outside world that he, Lu Changsheng, possessed a core formation spiritual object, making him the target of other loose cultivators and family forces. Then there was Jin Zan's apology. As long as he accepted it and took away the opponent's life-bound spiritual artifact, he would naturally have to return it. In such a situation, with such a stance, if he, Mr. Lu, did not reconcile and return the spiritual artifact, it would make him appear petty and vindictive, not giving face to the Jin family. Not even giving face to the false core patriarch. What would other families think if they knew? Other false core families might think Lu Changsheng to be arrogant and presumptuous. A stratagem in the open. This was a blatant stratagem. Such bold moves in this stratagem were indeed extraordinary. Actually spending a core formation spiritual object, just to make Jin Zan apologize in person. Unless they thought he wouldn't dare accept the core formation spiritual object and were showing weakness. But faced with such an arrangement, even if he didn't accept it, the opponent's genuine appearance of apology meant he had to return the life-bound spiritual artifact. Indeed, the old ginger is spicier. The ancestor of Jin family is using this method to further push our Bai Lake Mountain into the limelight and by doing so, draw attention to Golden Dragon Ridge, Lu Changsheng muttered to himself. If his family had been an ordinary Foundation establishment family, they might indeed be worried in such a situation. But when he made his move on Jin Zan, he had already considered the consequences. What if his tree attracted the wind? If anyone dared to look for trouble, he would, like he did when facing Jin Zan, make an example of them, kill the chicken to warn the monkeys, and solidify his reputation for defeating a false core with talisman formations. After all, sometimes a reputation isn't entirely a bad thing. With such a reputation, it would be enough to deter the other families and prevent them from harboring bad intentions. His early reputation worried him that it might attract the covetousness of others. But now, with his current reputation, how many would dare to covet it? Enough to deter most of the petty thieves, and allow the family to develop securely. Moreover, his family was strong but not overbearing, and by developing securely, they could also show the dignity and style of the family, laying the foundation for future reputation and goodwill. The ancestor of Jin family is being too courteous. It was all a misunderstanding. Once explained, it's all clear. Originally, I, lose someone, was going to visit you after taking care of the affairs to clear things up. I didn't expect that the ancestor of Jean family would take the initiative to come here. You truly are a man of openness and magnanimity, Lu Changxing said politely. In his words, he naturally placed the profound water-cold crystal into his storage ring. Then he took out a golden weapon, part spear, part Dao, and spoke. Daoist Jean left in a hurry that day, forgetting to take this artifact. Today, it shall be returned to its original owner. Since the opponent had done so, he, Lu Changxing, would openly tell others that he not only defeated Jin Zan, the great elder of the Jin family, but also took his life-bound spiritual artifact. Shoo, that seems to be the life-bound spiritual artifact of the great elder of the Jin family, the golden dragon square halberd. Never thought that even the life-bound spiritual artifact would be taken by Lu Mountain Lord. No wonder the ancestor of Jin family brought Jin Zan to apologize. The life-bound spiritual artifact is connected to one's life. Once lost, it takes who knows how many years to nurture anew, which could delay his attempt at core formation. However, Lu Mountain Lord is truly magnanimous. Although the Jin family is polite, they are duplicitous, yet he simply and openly took out this life-bound spiritual artifact. The rumors say that Lu Changxing is a man of loyalty and righteousness, and now it seems that he indeed acts with integrity. He does not provoke others, and as long as you don't offend by Lake Mountain, we should be able to coexist in peace. Everyone in the hall watched this unfold, each silently calculating. But a few people also had their minds on the core formation spiritual object that Lu Changxing had just put into his storage bag. This Lu Changxing is really not simple. Does he really have the confidence, or, the ancestor of Jin family saw Lu Changxing calmly accept his core formation spiritual object and then took out the golden dragon square halberd, his heart skipping a beat, somewhat unexpected. After all, Lu Changxing's initiative to take out the spiritual artifact indicated he saw through the intentions. But in such a situation, he still dared to accept the core formation spiritual object. He didn't ponder long, turning to Jin Zan with a cold huff. Jin Zan, have you not thanked Lu Mountain Lord enough? Thank you, Lu Mountain Lord. Chapter 900, Apologize and Make Amends, Beast Taming Sioux Family. Jin Zan spoke up, but his voice was devoid of any sincerity, instantly making Lu Changxing's actions look superior. Most people in the room could guess why Jin Zan behaved this way. It was because they knew without thinking that this core formation spiritual object was most likely prepared by the Jin family for Jin Zan. At this moment, it would be a ghostly occurrence for him to be in a good mood. Hee, Daoist Jin, you are too kind. Lu Changxing smiled and did not take the other party's attitude to heart. After all, he was just a mere jumping clown. He looked around at everyone present and announced with a laugh, "Come now, let's continue, drink up." In the hall, the guests clinked cups and toasts were made in lively succession. During the break, Lu Changxing, the groom, walked out of the great hall with a cup in hand to toast and greet the guests from inside and outside the villa. In this process, one by one, the coy and charming women looked at Lu ancestor with silk-like seductive eyes, almost dripping water. Faced with this, Lu Changxing silently shook his head. He thought to himself that sometimes too much charm can be a problem. He made no particular response. After all, though Mr. Lu took concubines with a purpose, he still spent considerable time accompanying and taking responsibility for them. Now, having to manage 15 concubines was already taking up much of his time and energy. Moreover, he didn't even know the family backgrounds or spiritual root talents of these many women in the room. As for beauty alone, to the Lu ancestor, who had seen countless experiences and had been through all sorts of trials, it was hard to catch his eye. Now, only if status, temperament, and abilities complemented beauty, could they slightly move Lu ancestor's heart. After the toasts were over, as night fell, Lu Changxing naturally started his duties as the groom. However, having too many concubines at once could lead to an exhausted Lu Changxing, who might find himself overwhelmed. Faced with this situation, Lu Changxing could only encourage the concubines to get to know each other better and develop connections, to save himself from too much trouble. The next day, the wedding feast continued. But on this day, Lu Changxing did not continue to accompany the drinking. Instead, he met privately with the family patriarchs and heads, along with his wife Lu Miaoge, Lu Miaoyun, Ling Zixiao, and his son Lu Yun. It was just a casual chat to convey his family's stance and extend goodwill. No matter what the others thought, Lu ancestor always insisted on the external policy of avoiding conflict, building connections, and prospering through harmony, and internally, taking good care of the children and producing more offspring. Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven. Changxing Hall. Hiss. You're saying the beast-taming Su family has set their sights on me, so you came over to look into the situation and test the waters? Lu Changxing was currently chatting leisurely with a representative of the beast-taming Su family, his palm gently stroking the other's fiery red, smooth hair, his eyes narrowed slightly. He knew that being prominent could attract the attention of other families. But he hadn't expected that the beast-taming Su family would take note of him. Compared to them, Golden Dragon Ridge seemed insignificant. Emicham, I suspect this matter is related to the Jin family. The Jin family deliberately spread news of you to the ears of the three ancestors. Su Rian let her fiery red hair drape down, covering her stunningly beautiful face, and spoke with a slightly indistinct voice. The Jin family, three ancestors? Lu Changxing twirled a strand of hair around his finger, his eyebrows lifting slightly. He was aware of the beast-taming Su family but was not very familiar with its internal affairs. All he knew was that in addition to a core formation old ancestor, the Su family apparently also had 3 false core immortals in the open. Emicham, Su Rian moved her head subtly, her voice indistinct, explaining to Lu Changxing in detail. The third ancestor of the Su family, the false core patriarch, was named Su Gu. Rumors said he had the potential for core formation in his early years, but was injured by a true disciple of the spirit-taming sect, damaging his Dao foundation and leading to a long period of decline. Later, by chance, he obtained a demon core and formed a false core. However, after breaking through to false core, his personality gradually became peculiar, lacking the demeanor of a true immortal. He had once bullied the weak and attacked a foundation establishment disciple of the spirit-taming sect, crippling their dantian, which provoked the sect to confront the Su family, with the core formation old ancestor coming forward to resolve the issue. Afterward, although the family patriarch restricted Su Gu, he still enjoyed bullying the weaker parties. After assuming the role of inspector elder of the Su family, whenever he saw any rising family forces or prodigies, he liked to snuff them out. For a major sect like the spirit-taming sect, facing this kind of issue, their elders would go to the Su family to confront Su Gu, who naturally did not dare to retaliate. But the smaller family forces had nowhere to turn in the face of such behavior. And the family patriarch turned a blind eye to such situations. Therefore, Su Rian indicated that her visit was because Su Gu had taken notice of Lu Changxing and might target him in the future. Hiss, Lu Changxing drew in a cool breath and squeezed a sharp and full snow fruit hard with his palm. He thought to himself that the Jin family had actually been waiting for him here. He had thought that the Jin family's overenthusiastic support was simply to use his family as bait to attract firepower and attention. Little did he expect that the Jin family wanted to use someone else's knife to kill him. Through their excessive support, they made the beast-taming Su family take notice of him and act against him. This ancestor of the Jin family really is an old coin. At this moment, Lu Changxing's eyes squinted in anger, his body trembling slightly. A moment later, Su Rian's delicate neck gently lifted, her cheeks flushed, and her alluring eyes gazed at Lu Changxing with a drunk, dazed look. After a gurgle in her slender swan neck, she cooed softly, "Master, Rian, let me see what progress you've made in the beast-taming Su family this year." Lu Changxing gently stroked her fiery red, silky hair and then rewarded her with a slap on Su Rian's rounded buttocks, engaging in an in-depth exchange with her and asking about the affairs of the beast-taming Su family. At first, Su Rian was able to answer intermittently and vaguely. But as time went on, her cries became tearful and choked, calling out master, husband. However, even in such an exchange, Lu Changxing still gained a lot of insight into the beast-taming Su family. Although the beast-taming Su family only had 3 false core immortals on the surface, it was possible they had others in the shadows. Moreover, the foundation of the beast-taming Su family lay in the fact that their false cores were only used to maintain the family's strength. With a core formation old ancestor present, they would not intentionally cultivate false core immortals. After all, despite being called immortals, the false core immortals ultimately could not compare with the nascent soul immortals. Not only was their lifespan limited to 300 years, but their cultivation levels could not advance by even an inch. Therefore, the true strength of a family like the beast-taming Su family lay in their ability, if they were willing, to cultivate 1 or 2 false core immortals at any time. Additionally, the beast-taming Su family had a 3rd-order old turtle as its guardian. What kind of demon beast this old turtle was and its specific combat power, Su Ruyan was not clear. She only knew that it had been with the Su family for a very long time as their clan guardian spirit beast. As for whether there were other 3rd-order spiritual beasts, specifics about the rumored fire crow Dao soldier and water serpent Dao soldier, Su Ruyan did not know. After all, she had only been with the beast-taming Su family for a year. Even though she had entered the core circle, her exposure was still limited. Okay, I got it. Lu Changxing nodded, showing some concern for Su Ruyan's well-being. He then returned the ancient beast-taming charm to her, allowing her to catch up with Hong Lian and see her son, Lu Qinsha. Chapter 902, Xiao Xie returns. Preparing to propose marriage. In the cave heaven, other than green grass, the pond formed by the spiritual spring, and the Changxing Hall, there was nothing else, which truly made it a bit monotonous. After checking the situation, he went back to the Lu family mansion. Seeing his daughter Lu Wangshu looking helpless due to Lu Ling's mischief, he couldn't help but burst into laughter. After all, he rarely saw his daughter in such a helpless and disheartened manner. Shortly after, Lu Changxing picked up his daughter Lu Lingyi, briefly inquired about Lu Wangshu's cultivation progress, and then let her go play on her own. Seeing Lu Wangshu hastily flying toward Bai Shui Lake on her artifact, Lu Changxing sighed softly, inevitably thinking of Xiao Xie. The core formation grand ceremony of Chu Qingyi had ended, and Xiao Xie had gone with her to explore the secret realm in the Luoyun mountain range, which was already 2 years ago. Over these 2 years, Xiao Xie had not returned even once. She only wrote 1 or 2 letters, expressing her longing and that she was temporarily unable to leave. Although for a cultivator, 2 years was a very short period of time, for Lu Changxing, regarding Lu Wangshu, who was only 17 years old now, 2 years felt very long. I wonder what the situation in the Luoyun mountain range is now. Lu Changxing looked up at the sky, took a deep breath, and then exhaled deeply. He had been paying attention to the situation in the Luoyun mountain range. But the place was under a blockade, and no information could be transmitted from there, leaving him clueless about the situation. Luoyun mountain range. A base enveloped by a faint formation. Master, are you all right? Chu Qingyi and Xiao Xie looked at their master with concern. Phew, I'm fine. Yun Wanshang, with her resplendent and pale face, gently raised her hand and spoke. Then, looking toward her disciple Chu Qingyi, who had a high-cold demeanor and wore a snow-white sword robe, she said with slightly parted red lips, Qingyi, now that the prohibitions in the secret realm have been broken, you'll take charge here and lead the exploration. I need to return to the sect to heal. Yun Wanshang spoke like this. Although she said she was not seriously harmed, her current condition clearly wasn't suitable for continuing to oversee the exploration of the secret realm. She needed to return to the Qingyun sect to heal more rapidly and thus not affect her foundation. Moreover, having her disciple Chu Qingyi in charge of the exploration here, she felt very reassured. Yes, master. Chu Qingyi nodded in response, continuing with concern, Master, shall I escort you back to the sect? There's no need, my condition isn't severe enough for that. Yun Wanshang's pale face maintained its majestic composure, as she authoritatively said, Qingyi, should anyone else from our sect come here, remember, the command is in your hands. This secret realm was first discovered by her, and she had even competed with the Luoxia sect to claim ownership. Now, after investing so much effort and even getting injured, she absolutely wouldn't allow any situation where others could reap what she had sown. Please rest assured, Master, Qingyi understands. Chu Qingyi raised her sharp eyebrows, her beautiful face expressing a frigid solemnity. She had become a core formation immortal, naturally not just some naive girl. She understood that cultivation was a struggle within the great Tao. Even within the same sect, there was constant competition. This secret realm was very special and beneficial to both herself and her master. Having spent so much time and effort, they naturally wouldn't allow others to walk away with their hard-earned benefits. Yun Wanshang nodded and then looked toward Xiao Xia, who was wearing a moon-white dress. Xiu, continue exploring the secret realm with your senior sister. If you can make some gains, it will assist you in your future core formation. Although Xiao Xia was only at the 5th layer of foundation establishment, with core formation still far away, such matters naturally needed early preparation. After all, even though Xiao Xia was her disciple, requesting a coagulation crystal elixir and core formation spiritual object from the sect would be very difficult in the future. She needed to rely on her own efforts and make significant contributions to the sect to be convincing and make her request. This, now, was an opportunity. As long as Xiao Xia worked diligently in this secret realm along with them, once they reported their achievements to the sect, it would be considered a significant merit. Master, let me escort you back. Upon hearing this, Xiao Xia suddenly lifted her head, biting her lips lightly. She had been here for over 2 years now and was eager to avail this opportunity to return to Bai Lake Mountain to visit Lu Changsheng and her daughter, Lu Wangshu. Yun Wanshang, noticing her disciple's reaction, as a nascent soul immortal, had a very sharp spiritual sense. At this moment, she clearly sensed that her disciple's state of mind was somewhat disturbed, her eyes revealing a touch of tenderness. Theoretically, this kind of emotional disturbance shouldn't occur in Xiao Xia, who practiced the supreme forgetful love technique. However, as her master, she naturally understood why her disciple felt this way. Sigh. Yun Wanshang silently sighed in her heart. She regretted having Xiao Xia cultivate the supreme forgetful love technique and regretted agreeing to Xiao Xia's decision back then. But now, things had reached this point, and it wasn't good to say anything more. She could only let nature take its course and hope that Xiao Xia would break through all on her own. Although to her, it seemed extremely difficult for her disciple to overcome this, the likelihood appeared bleak. All right. Yun Wanshang watched Xiao Xia for a moment and then nodded her approval. Thank you, Master. Upon hearing this, Xiao Xia immediately expressed her gratitude. Chu Qingyi, somewhat surprised, looked at her younger sister. As a nascent soul immortal born with the clarity of sword heart, having even sharper spiritual sense than her master, Kaiyun true immortal, she, too, sensed her younger sister's emotional fluctuation at this moment. She didn't understand why her younger sister, at this moment, requesting to escort the master back, would have such an emotional reaction. But she did not ask further, merely nodding at Xiao Xia, since that's the case, it's hard on you, younger sister. You're too polite, elder sister. Xiao Xia responded softly. Chapter 903, Xiao Xia returns. Preparing to propose marriage. Yun Wanshang did not say much, her hands white as jade gently lifted, a piece of cloth with a cloud pattern appeared, transforming into a cluster of colorful nebula clouds. She and Xiao Xia gently rose to their feet and settled upon the colorful nebula clouds, becoming a streak of flowing light, flying into the 9 heavens gang wind. Xiu, how are things between you and Lu Changxing now? Yun Wanshang sat cross-legged on the cloud veil, closed her beautiful eyes, and quietly inquired. Although she was aware of her disciple's affair with Lu Changxing, she had not paid much attention to it. On one hand, thinking about the matter between her disciple and Lu Changxing, she felt troubled. On the other hand, it was out of respect for her disciple, not wanting to meddle too much in matters of the heart. But now, the situation her disciple was in made her, as a master, inevitably concerned and obliged to ask. Master, Xiao Xia, wearing a moon-white dress, with a cold and clear complexion like the moon, felt her heart tremble upon hearing her master's words, lightly biting her lip. She knew her actions today disappointed her master. But faced with her master's questions, she did not dare to conceal anything and revealed her feelings towards Lu Changxing. The issue about her daughter, Lu Wangshu, was still something she dared not mention truthfully. A month later. At Bai Lake Mountain, Changxing Hall. Lu Changxing and Xiao Xia expressed their longing for each other. Separated for many years, their longing flooded in like the tide, reversing into a river. Afterward. Lu Changxing held Xiao Xia, whose body was as pale and beautiful as jade, as enchanting as the dawn, and as radiant as moonlight, and asked about her past 2 years. Kaiyun True Immortal got injured? Lu Changxing caressed Xiao Xia's flat belly, which didn't have an ounce of excess fat, raised his eyebrows slightly in surprise. He hadn't expected this secret realm to be so dangerous. Even with 2 nascent soul cultivators stationed there, it still resulted in Kaiyun True Immortal, a nascent soul immortal, getting injured and needing to return to the sect for recuperation. However, if not for Kaiyun True Immortal returning to the sect to recover, he and Xiao Xia might still not have known when they could see each other again. But hearing that Xiao Xia would soon return to the Luoyun mountain range with her senior sister Chu Qingyi to explore the secret realm, he couldn't help but worry. Xiu, isn't this secret realm too dangerous? Lu Changxing asked warmly. He had never visited a secret realm or explored any ancient ruins or cave mansions. In his mind, whether it was a predecessor's cave mansion or an ancient secret realm, they were synonymous with danger. If it was possible, he preferred not to get involved. Now, hearing that the secret realm had injured a nascent soul immortal, he naturally was concerned about Xiao Xia's well-being. There were many prohibitions and demon beasts on the outer periphery of the secret realm, which is why Master was accidentally injured. Now that the preliminary exploration of the secret realm is complete, there should be no significant danger. Xiao Xia explained. However, since the secret realm was a crucial secret of the sect, she could not share too much information with Lu Changxing. Even so, Lu Changxing remained concerned about Xiao Xia's situation. After a brief moment of tenderness, they got up from the bed. Having been apart for more than 2 years, Lu Changxing continued to express his longing for her through his actions, helping Xiao Xia dress and do her makeup. The undergarment was as white as the moon, thin as cicada's wings, and light as clouds. A simple and elegant braided long robe and moon-white flowing cloud skirt. Though it was just a plain moon-white dress, on Xiao Xia it supported her exquisite figure with an ethereal grace, adding a cool and otherworldly aspect to her transcendent beauty. Immediately after, Lu Changxing had Xiao Xia sit in front of a bronze mirror to do her hair and brought out various perfumes, rouge, and eyebrow pencils to do her makeup. As the saying goes, practice makes perfect. As a man with many wives, this basic skill was something he had mastered. Moreover, cultivators were naturally beautiful and fair-skinned, mostly requiring only minor touch-ups to highlight their features. Having done all this and seeing Xiao Xia's gentle, sparkling eyes, Lu Changxing's face was also filled with smiles. The life Mr. Lu pursued was just that simple and unadorned. Let's go. Lu Changxing, handsome as jade, took Xiao Xia's hand to meet their daughter, Lu Wangshu. But the next moment, he noticed that Xiao Xia had yet to put on her shoes and socks. Her slender, fair feet were delicate and exquisite, shaped like lotus leaves, refined in every way, without a single flaw. He then slipped the silk stockings and embroidered shoes onto these jade feet that he had often caressed and admired. The two left Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven to find their daughter, Lu Wangshu. Daddy, Mommy. Lu Wangshu, seeing her mother, who had been absent for over 2 years, did not express overwhelming joy and happiness, displaying a bit of a sulking temperament instead. Faced with this situation, of course, Lu Changsheng and Xiao Xia together coddled their daughter. Moreover, it seemed that Xiao Xia had anticipated her daughter's discontent and had even prepared a gift for her. Lu Wangshu wasn't truly angry. It was simply that Xiao Xia had said she would visit often, but then took so long to return. Now, seeing her mother's face brimming with guilt and explanations, she immediately let go of her resentment. By Shui Lake. On a flat-bottomed boat. Xiao Xia, dressed in a moon-white gown, sat and played the guqin like the 9 heavens bright moon, full of immortal aura. Lu Changsheng, in a green spiritual robe, held a bamboo flute to his lips, his demeanor relaxed and otherworldly. The sound of the guqin and the melody of the flute rose and blended harmoniously, enchantingly beautiful, bringing to mind a scene under the moon and flowers, filled with endless love. The lake breeze stirred ripples on the water's surface, where fish swam idly, and a green jade luan bird in the sky performed a graceful dance. Ever since achieving 3rd rank in music mastery, Lu Changsheng had finally realized the purpose of this green jade luan bird. It was to accompany his own music, adding a touch of charm to it. Beside him, sitting on her own fishing boat, Lu Wangshu held a fishing rod in one hand and propped her radiant face with the other, quietly watching her parents play in harmony. It had to be said that their music truly touched the soul and was utterly captivating. It was just that the loving manner in which her parents played together made her feel as if her teeth were dissolving in the sweetness. They had clearly agreed to accompany her for a day of fun, so how had she ended up feeling like an outsider? Humph. Seeing a large fish approaching from a distance, she channeled her spiritual power with emotion, and slapped a mechanism nearby. Boom! Splish splash! Instantly, a small cannon on the boat fired a fierce bolt of lightning, the explosion rippling giant waves across the calm water and charring the large fish. Daddy, Mommy, look, I've caught another king of fish. Lu Wangshu shot out the fishing line and scooped up the large fish, looking obedient and adorable as she spoke. Lu Wangshu, are you allergic to elegance or what? Don't you realize you're totally spoiling the atmosphere? Lu Changsheng looked at his daughter, somewhat speechless. As a father, he couldn't help but understand that this crafty creature was doing it on purpose. But I really did see a king of fish, and I didn't want it to get away. Lu Wangshu said with an innocent look on her face. All right, Xiao Xia looked at her daughter with affection and asked if she wanted to join them and continue learning to play the guqin. Yes. Lu Wangshu immediately replied with a smile, making a mischievous face at her father, prompting Lu Changsheng to shake his head and lightly chuckle. Like this, Xiao Xia stayed for 7 days at Bai Lake Mountain. During these 7 days, as if making up for lost time, she mostly spent her time doting on her daughter, Lu Wangshu, indulging her every whim. Shiyu, since the true immortal knows about us, and now that he happens to be in the sect, what do you think of us going to see him? If he agrees, it would be easier for you to come back to Bai Lake Mountain in the future. Chapter 904, The Number 1 Sword Trial, Siblings of the Jinyang Sect. Changsheng, Xiao Xia's heart shuddered violently upon hearing Lu Changsheng's words. Previously, while returning with her master Yun Wanshang, the two had a long conversation. Yun Wanshang had inquired about how she intended to handle these feelings. She was cultivating the supreme forgetful love technique, which required her to use her emotions to break through. Yet if she became entangled in the maze of these feelings, it would go against the path she sought to follow, essentially amounting to abandoning the great Tao. Xiao Xia naturally understood these principles. She had earnestly told her master that she was only cultivating and would surely be able to break through when the time came. But in her heart, she knew she was just running away. Once she reached the 9th level of foundation establishment, it would be extremely difficult to break through the 3rd layer of the supreme forgetful love technique and make a push for core formation. Master is injured and is currently healing, Xiao Xie spoke softly, her head slightly lowered. Although she longed to be with Lu Changxing openly and legitimately before the world, she had just assured her master that she was solely focused on cultivation. Now, bringing Lu Changxing to meet her and propose would surely disappoint her master. Moreover, her master was the enforcement hall master of the Qingyun sect. Besides the warmth she showed to her disciples, she was often as stern as frost and quite imposing. It was possible that she might take a dislike to Lu Changxing because of Xiao Xie, and blame him. Shiyu. Lu Changxing knew Xiao Xie very well. He understood that her heart was still knotted over her cultivation issues. He supported her slender shoulders and looked into her eyes, clear as the moon reflected in a lake, and said gently, "You seek the Tao, and I won't stop you, nor blame you. I just don't want you to be wronged. I've said before, I will find a dual cultivation method before you reach core formation. If I can't find it, then you may freely cut off this romantic entanglement and seek the Tao wholeheartedly to break through core formation. However, by the time that comes, I will still come to Qingyun's sect with Wang Shu to take you home." Lu Changxing said, a serious look in his eyes. So many years had passed, and whenever this matter was brought up, she would get lost and confused. He understood this and tried to give her a sense of security to prevent her from overthinking. After all, Xiao Xie's cultivation technique was somewhat unorthodox. If this continued, she might one day cultivate a heart demon. Changxing, Xiao Xie was stunned and bit her lips, wanting to say something. But Lu Changxing placed a finger gently upon her moist lips and said, "Let's go, I will accompany you to Qingyun's sect." If the true immortal is in closed-door healing, then well leave it be. If not, we shall pay a visit. Lu Changxing said with a smile. In his view, the worst-case scenario for this marriage proposal trip was merely Kaiyun True Immortal's unfavorable opinion of him. But when he had encountered trouble in Qingyun's sect before, Kaiyun True Immortal had been willing to help him out of a difficult situation. He didn't think she was a person to sweat the small stuff. After all, as a nascent soul immortal, she sat above the clouds, watching them roll and unfold without care. How could she be bothered by marriage matters? Xiao Xie blinked slowly out of her daze, her beautiful eyes showing tenderness and sweetness as she nodded gently. She rarely saw Lu Changxing act so dominantly. She knew he did this to make her feel at ease, so she wouldn't feel wronged. "I'll go get ready. But for meeting the true immortal, should I also prepare a gift?" Lu Changxing recalled his past visit to Qingyun's sect, where the true immortal seemed to see through his cultivation level. Thus, it was necessary this time to conceal that he had reached Foundation Establishment's 7th layer and quasi-3rd order body refinement. Otherwise, if she noticed the astonishingly rapid increase in his cultivation level, it could invite unnecessary trouble. "There's no need to prepare anything," Xiao Xie said with a faintly amused smile. Subsequently, Lu Changxing made quick preparations. He used the 9 treasures Rui Bone to seal his mana and cultivation level to the Foundation Establishment 4th layer, and his physical cultivation to the 2nd order initial stage. As for the gift, he chose several spirit talismans he had drawn himself. Thus prepared, Lu Changxing informed Ling Zixiao. Then he and Xiao Xie left Bihu Lake Mountain and set off for the Qingyun sect. In Yu Country, Jinyang sect. The Jinyang sect was hosting its quinquennial sword trial tournament. The competition had reached the final stage and was bustling with activity. All disciples, many sect elders, and supreme elders had emerged from their seclusions to watch the battles. After all, this tournament was not merely a contest among the disciples of Jinyang sect. It also pertained to the dispute over Qingming's secret realm entry spots and resources allocation among the several great immortal sects of Yu Country. Should their disciples excel and prevail over the other sects in the grand competition, they would not only gain honor but also secure more spots and resource distribution in the Qingming's secret realm. Thus, the sect took this great sword trial very seriously. Lu Qingshan of Tianyuan Peak, Gu Yunyang of Jinyun Peak. At this moment, the elder hosting the event announced loudly while holding the jade scroll. As soon as the announcement was made, it set off a wave of expectation among the crowd. Here they come, here they come. Finally, we're going to see an incredibly intense showdown. Lu Qingshan with his sword Dao breaks all spells, while Gu Yunyang practices magical dual cultivation, having perfected the golden lustrous body. It's the perfect matchup. However, based on their previous performances, I think Lu Qingshan will win. Indeed, in all previous contests, Lu Qingshan has been overwhelmingly dominant, defeating his enemies with a single sword strike. It's breathtaking. I think elder brother Gu is more formidable. His cultivation level has reached the peak of qi refining. If it wasn't for the Qingming's secret realm, he'd have broken through to foundation establishment long ago. Lu Qingshan stands no chance against him. That's right, while Lu Qingshan is strong, elder brother Gu has yet to fully display the power of his golden lustrous body. In my opinion, Lu Qingshan is more impressive. 5 years ago, at the 7th level of energy refinement, he placed 30th in the sword trial tournament. Now at the 9th level, having comprehended the first realm of sword Dao, sword Qi like a rainbow, he is unparalleled in his rank and will surely break through the golden lustrous body. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.